What if your perfect boyfriend was never really yours? Jiho was 22 and had a boyfriend who truly seemed like her endgame. Attentive, caring, sweet, handsome, everything she could possibly want. But on New Year's Eve, while fireworks exploded across the sky, she looked at him, trying to hold on to that moment. He wasn't looking at her. He was staring in another direction, with a different kind of look. When Jiho followed his gaze, she realized he was looking at another woman. Not just any woman, but his childhood best friend. You know that moment when you see something you can never unsee? Jealousy starts creeping in slowly. It eats away at you, makes you insecure, sad, and even if you try to ignore it, it doesn't go away. You begin to notice every little detail, every small thing that used to go unnoticed. So how do you deal with a situation like that without looking like the pathetic girl who was never truly loved? That's when Parkun enters the equation. A handsome, confident, and extremely perceptive man who, even without a word being said, immediately notices Jiho's jealousy and insecurity. And then he introduces her to something that promises to solve her problems. A website called Meddler, an AI designed to act as a love advisor. Even though she's not sure if something like that could really work, Jiho decides to give it a try. And that's when she realizes something. She wants Jiho to feel the same thing he made her feel, jealousy. Well, if everything started with the friendship between a man and a woman, why not continue the same way? Jiho decides to get herself a male friend. And who volunteers in 2 seconds? Parkun. Of course. At first, the plan seems to work perfectly. Jiho starts getting uncomfortable. He gets jealous. He becomes more attentive, stays closer to her, tells her he loves her more often. Happy ending? Problem solved? No, because that's exactly when things start becoming dangerous. Jiho likes this new version of Jiho. She likes not having to share him with his childhood friend anymore, but she also enjoys Parkhyun's company. And you probably already know where this is going. An old crush getting closer again, spending more and more time together, pretending to be something more than they really are. It's the perfect recipe for one, or maybe both, of them to start developing feelings that were never part of the plan. And to make things even messier, there's still the boyfriend. Obviously, our protagonist only realizes the mess she's gotten herself into when things finally heat up. And Parkun admits that he can't pretend to be just a friend anymore. First love, second chances, AI manipulation, jealousy games spinning out of control. Come with me and I'll tell you how this entire chaotic story full of twists unfolds. What if your perfect boyfriend was never really yours? Jiho was 22 years old and had a boyfriend who seemed to truly be her endgame. Attentive, affectionate, sweet, handsome, everything she could want. But on New Year's Eve, while fireworks exploded in the sky, she looked at him trying to hold on to that moment. But he was not looking at her. He was looking in another direction, with a different expression. When Jiho followed his gaze, she realized it was another woman, but not just any woman. It was his best friend since childhood. You know that moment when you see something you can never unsee? Jealousy begins to creep in slowly. It eats away at you from the inside, makes you insecure, sad, and even if you try to ignore it, it does not go away. You start noticing every detail, every little thing that used to go unnoticed. How do you solve this situation without coming out looking like a loser who was never truly loved back? That is when Parkun is added to the equation, a handsome, confident, and extremely perceptive man who, even without anything being said, notices Jiho's jealousy and insecurity, and then introduces her to something that promises to solve her problems, a website called Meddler, an AI that works as a love counselor. Even suspecting whether this would really work, Jiho takes the risk and discovers that she wants to make Jiho feel the same thing he made her feel, jealousy. Well, and if it all started with the friendship between a man and a woman, then let it continue that way, right? Jiho decides to get herself a male friend, and who volunteers in 2 seconds? Parkun. Of course, at first the plan seems to work. Jiho starts to get bothered, to feel jealous, and gets closer to her, saying he loves her more often. Happy ending? Problem solved? No. Actually, that is when things start to become more dangerous. Jiho likes this new version of Jiho. She likes not having to share him with his childhood friend anymore, but she also likes Parkhyun's company. But you already know where this is going, right? An old crush getting close again, spending too much time together, trying to look like more than they are. It is simply the perfect recipe for one or both of them to develop feelings that were never part of the deal. And to make everything worse, there is still the X-current. Obviously, our protagonist only realizes where she truly got herself into when things heat up, and Parkun finally admits he can no longer pretend to be just a friend. First love, second chances, AI manipulation, jealousy games getting out of control. Come with me and I will tell you how this whole messy story full of twists unfolds. At the park, Jiho hears her boyfriend Jiho calling her. When she turns around, she sees that he is taking a candid photo of her. She thinks about how she finally started dating at 22 years old. I always heard that I shouldn't date during my teenage years. Apparently, he heard that too. Surprised by the photo, she walks over to him, complaining that he can't take pictures like that. But Jiho keeps taking photos. He says the picture turned out great and, with a smile, compliments Jiho, saying that she looks very beautiful today. She thinks about how she has such a cute and perfect boyfriend. Suspicious, she asks to see the photo. But when he shows her the screen, she feels disappointed. Her expression looks terrible. Playfully, she asks for the phone to delete the photo. He laughs and tells her to let it go because he liked the picture. The two of them hug, smiling, and Jiho thinks about how everything seemed perfect. But everything changed at the turn of the year. On New Year's Eve, Jiho was watching the fireworks while Jiho hugged her. She asks if he also thinks it's beautiful, but notices that his gaze is turned elsewhere. Following Jiho's gaze, she realizes that he is staring at another woman near them. I think we have a good story here for those who enjoy drama and fights. Jiho remembers that moment and thinks about how she wishes she hadn't noticed it, and she wonders whether her relationship would still truly be happy. Days later, in the classroom, Jiho receives a message from Jiho, inviting her to eat something later. She looks at her phone without much excitement, thinking about how she is pretending that nothing is wrong. Even though it feels strange, she replies yes, but she thinks about how uncomfortable she feels with the idea of going out with him. What a beautiful relationship, huh? No one talks to solve their problems. Lost in her own thoughts, she decides to ask her friend Yeji what she thinks about friendship between men and women. Yeji replies that she thinks it is totally possible. For her, gender does not determine friendship. Jiho then asks whether her friend's boyfriend had been her friend for 5 years before they started dating. But Yeji explains that in their case, it was different, that he was never really just a friend. Jiho insists that it doesn't make a difference. She keeps thinking about how she doesn't believe in friendship between men and women, even if they are childhood friends. And Jiho has always had his childhood friend by his side, Youngsua. In fact, it was Youngsua who introduced Jiho to Jiho. However, since New Year's, the way the two of them act together has started to bother Jiho. Honestly, it seems like there are no psychologists in Korea. No one is up to date with therapy in that country. While explaining the whole situation to Yeji, Jiho looks at a recent post from Youngsua. Yeji asks if she really thought Jiho looked at his friend in a different way, and Jiho confirms. She even says that anyone could see it was a loving look. Yeji then asks if she is jealous, but Jiho defends herself by saying no. She just found it strange. You're not jealous, and I'm a palm tree, right, my dear? Yeji comments that Jiho is probably only noticing it now, but that the two of them have always been very close. She then turns Jiho's face to the side and tells her to look more carefully. Jiho sees Youngsua flirting with a guy named Parkun, and she notices how Parkun has a completely different vibe from Jiho. Parkun notices her gaze and moves his lips, asking what she is looking at. We have the Don Juan of our series, and he has already arrived in the first episode. Startled, Jiho tries to understand why he is acting like that, and also doesn't understand how Youngsua can flirt with this guy. Turning to Yeji, she says that maybe she is worrying for nothing, and her friend agrees, saying that Jiho should let it go. Yeji reinforces that she really thinks Jiho likes her, and that she shouldn't torture herself over it. Jiho agrees mentally and goes to meet Jiho. She finds him at the university square and apologizes for being late. Jiho says it's not a problem and reveals that he reserved a table at the restaurant she wanted to try. During lunch, Jiho notices how Jiho really cares about her. After the restaurant, she says she is ready for her next class. Jiho insists on walking her to the building. She tries to say he doesn't need to, that she doesn't want to bother him. But Jiho simply asks her to wait a second and bends down to tie her shoelace. So far, he's being really sweet. I really hope he's not cheating on her with his childhood friend. Watching him, Jiho thinks about how these natural gestures make her fall in love with him. She blushes seeing him act so spontaneously like that. Then, Jiho hands her a bag. He bought the chocolate she likes. In her mind, everything is confirmed. He thinks about her, makes an effort, is affectionate. Jiho believes she shouldn't doubt him. See? So far, the guy is the example of a boyfriend everyone deserves. She thanks him, but before she can say more, a voice calls Jiho. Youngsua appears, grabs his neck, and complains that they need to do the assignment. Jiho messes up her hair, saying she's the one who has homework. Youngsua, embarrassed, reminds him that he promised to help. Jiho feels bothered and clears her throat, trying to show that she is there. Youngsua makes a slight fake surprise and greets her. Jiho replies, while the friend says that Jiho will help with the assignment and asks if she can borrow him for a bit. Jiho tries to ignore the discomfort, saying it's fine, she'll see Jiho later. Youngsua thanks her and practically drags Jiho away, the two of them leaving arm in arm. Jiho watches the scene, feeling that it has already crossed the line. That friend is really very close to him, or she has second intentions. Still shocked, she notices that Young-sua is carrying a bag just like the one Jiho just gave her, and she remembers him saying minutes earlier that he bought the chocolate because he thought of her. Now, Jiyu questions herself. Did he really buy that just for her? Turning to leave, she once again wonders if the two of them are really just friends. Lost in her thoughts, she bumps into someone. The bag falls to the ground. She apologizes, and the person asks if she's okay. It's Parkun, and he is holding her bag. Very suspicious that she runs into this guy right after her boyfriend disappears with Young-sua. Sad, Jiyu says she doesn't need it anymore. Park Hyun argues that she herself said she really doesn't want it anymore. Realizing she is acting strange, she asks him to give the bag back. Park Hyun argues that she herself said she didn't want it anymore. When she tries to grab it, he lifts his arm out of her reach. She insists. He insists on not giving it back. Irritated, she asks if he isn't going to return it. He comments that Young-sua always walks around with a bag just like it, and asks if that's why Jiyu doesn't want hers anymore. So far, not a single normal person has appeared in this story. Everyone knows too much or hides too much. Jiyu goes silent, thinking that Jung-sua's bag came from Jiho, and that makes her self-esteem plummet. She replies that it wasn't that she just said something without thinking. Park Hyun looks at her and says she is very cute. He steps closer and asks for her phone number. Surprised, Jiyu doesn't understand the request. He says he simply liked her. Later, lying in bed, Jiyu thinks Park Hyun must be crazy. She remembers the scene at the square when he insisted on her number. Jiyu managed to get her bag back by shouting that he was crazy and that she already had a boyfriend. But Park Hyun wasn't shaken, saying that if her boyfriend has a female best friend, she can also have a male best friend. With no arguments left, Jiyu ended up giving him her number. At home, she doesn't understand why he suddenly started acting like that. She considers that Park Hyun might like Young-sua, and that's why he is bothered by Jiho being so close to her. Jiyu thinks that maybe the two of them are on the same team when it comes to Jiho and Jung-sua's relationship. When she looks at her chat with Park Hyun, she notices he sent a link to a website called Meddler and a message telling her to stop acting like a pushover and test the site. Jiyu clicks the link and sees the service advertisement. The video asks if she is in a toxic relationship and tired of feeling dragged down. It also says that Meddler is there to help. After the advertisement, Jiyu sees the option to start a conversation with the site's AI. She looks at all that and can only think about how suspicious it is, and how much she hates Park Hyun calling her a pushover. At that exact moment, a notification arrives. A new post from Young-sua. Curious, Jiyu clicks. It's a photo at a bar. On the table, there is someone's torso that looks like Jiho, and the same bag he gave as a gift. In the caption, escaping from tasks, Jiyu can only think about how Jiho went out for drinks and didn't mention anything to her. I take back everything I said about her boyfriend being sweet. The more this goes on, the more suspicious he's becoming. She sets her phone aside, overwhelmed by thoughts about Jiho and Jung-sua. Furious, she mutters to herself how irritating all of this is, and how she is such a pushover. I'm finding her very depressive. I'm already starting to get worried about her and this relationship. Picking up her phone again, she thinks that at this point she has no pride left at all, and she starts typing in the Meddler chat. The AI sends a message asking for permission to meddle in her love life. While Jiyu talks to Meddler, Park Hyun appears in another scene looking at his phone with a satisfied smile. Jiyu thinks about how she never imagined that by using that site, her relationship with Jiho would change completely. While she talks to an AI about her love problems, Jiho is at the bar, surprised by Young-sua. He comments that he thought the day was just for the two of them. Young-sua, smiling, says that it really was, but that she ran into Park Hyun on the way by chance. And she asks if Jiho isn't going to be bothered. After all, Park Hyun is her male friend. Jiyu begins telling Meddler how she and Jiho started going out and how after 3 months they finally began dating. She explains that Jiho has always been sweet, attentive, and handsome, and for her everything was perfect. However, his best friend has always been a problem in the relationship because she was too close to Jiho. Meddler listens to Jiyu's whole story and seems to reflect on what to answer. With unusual calm, he says he has a great solution to all of that. Jiyu should break up with Jiho. Surprised, Jiyu doesn't understand what kind of advice that was. Meddler then says she is choosing the hardest possible path and asks what exactly Jiyu is looking for in that conversation. She becomes thoughtful. Deep down, she just wanted the problem involving Young-sua to disappear completely. But to Meddler, she replies that she is not trying to end the relationship. She wants to continue with Jiho. Jiyu doesn't want her first love to end in such a stressful way. She says she wants her boyfriend to like her even more. Insecurity really sucks, doesn't it? The poor thing is getting into a situation that will only become more complicated. Meddler replies that he doesn't know how to make Jiho change, but that Jiyu can change a little. And he states that the solution is simple. make Jiho feel the same way she felt about his friendship with Youngsoo. Jiho is confused, trying to understand what he means by that. While she thinks about it, someone sits in the chair beside her. It's Parkun. He greets Jiho, who doesn't feel very comfortable but greets him back. He asks what she thought about Meddler, since she tested the link he sent. Jiho is startled. How did he know that? I'm almost certain this guy is the one who created Meddler, or he's pretending to be an AI to manipulate Jiho. Not wanting to talk much, she admits that she tested Meddler, but found everything very strange. Park Hyun seems surprised when she says that Meddler is extreme in its opinions and very rude. He replies that that is precisely what makes Meddler different, and that there are many people waiting to gain access to the AI. Suspicious, Jiho asks if that is true. Offended, Park Hyun says that if she doesn't want to use it, she can stop, but she will miss out on the novelty. Then Jiho asks why, if it is so sought after, he simply gave her access. Park Hyun replies that it was his brother who created Meddler, which is still in the testing phase. Surprised, Jiho comments that now she understands why the AI has that personality, and jokes that his brother is a genius. Park Hyun asks if that was a compliment or an insult. He reinforces that Meddler was created to help, and that she should follow the advice. She has nothing to lose. Jiho feels tempted to follow the suggestion, remembering the advice to make Jiho feel the same way she did. While observing Park Hyun, she thinks that maybe, instead of trying to make Jiho jealous, she could make Jungsoo get involved with Park Hyun, distancing her from Jiho. So Jiho asks if Park Hyun will be free at night. That night, at a restaurant, Jiho and Jiho are sitting across from Jungsoo and Park Hyun, trying to decide what to order. Smiling, Park Hyun asks why Jiho invited him to dinner. With the same smile, she says she invited him because it's fun to have dinner with friends, and since he was free, it was perfect. The two of them really dove headfirst into this act, didn't they? What a criminal duo. The Bonnie and Clyde of Korea. Park Hyun asks since when she has had the habit of inviting him to dinner. Jiho simply tells him not to worry, that she intends to invite him more often. Youngsoo watches the interaction and asks since when the two of them have been so close. She says she didn't expect that, because as far as she knew, Park Hyun only liked going out to drink at parties. Park Hyun comments that he finds it strange to drink with strangers, but he came to the restaurant only because he and Jiho are very close. With sarcasm, Youngsoo says that then he and she are not close. Park Hyun simply agrees while fiddling with his phone. Jiho watches the two of them without understanding what happened between them to make them act like that. She thinks she brought Park Hyun to help, but the situation is not going very well. So she decides to change the subject and suggests they quickly choose what to eat. She comments about a honey lemon chicken that they say is very good there, but Youngsoo suggests ordering a super spicy tteokbokki. She looks at Jiho and reminds him that the two of them ordered that dish the last time they went to the restaurant and that they loved it. Jiho says that another dish there is also great and hesitates. Her boyfriend is not helping either, right? He just had to agree with his girlfriend and that's it. Less stress for everyone. Jiho looks at the two of them and thinks about when exactly Jiho and Jungsoo came to the restaurant alone. She tries to say that she doesn't eat anything spicy and asks them to choose something lighter, but Youngsoo completely ignores her and calls the waiter to order 2 super spicy dishes. Jiho is surprised by the attitude and begins to think that it was intentional. Soon, the food arrives. Just by looking at it, Jiho already knows she will feel sick if she eats that. Her phone vibrates, and it is Meddler looking for her. She opens the chat. The AI asks where she is and if she is being made a fool of. Jiho wonders how Meddler knows about the situation, but she decides to explain everything that is happening. The AI says that since her boyfriend is ignoring her, she should ask her guest for help. She looks at Park Hyun. She realizes that he has not put down his phone and has not touched the food either. Without saying anything, Jiho tries to take some of the spicy dish, but hesitates. Park Hyun watches and, before she serves herself, pulls her plate away. She doesn't understand. He says he heard her comment that she hates spicy food. Jiho confirms. Then he takes a piece of the chicken he ordered and offers it to her. It was not spicy. While serving Jiho's plate, Park Hyun calls Jiho and asks if he doesn't mind his girlfriend eating something she hates. Jiho is left without an answer. Park Hyun continues, saying that Jungsoo ordered whatever she wanted, and Jiho accepted without thinking, and asks if Jiho didn't know that Jiho doesn't eat anything very spicy. Jungsoo defends herself by saying she was just distracted for a moment, and that Jiho should have spoken up earlier. Jiho feels outraged after all she had spoken and was ignored. Jungsoo pretends not to understand and asks if Jiho heard anything. She is a top-level manipulator. There is no way she didn't hear. Jiho looks at Jiho and imagines that he will say he didn't hear anything, as he always does in front of his friend. But to her surprise, Jiho says that he did hear Jiho comment about the spicy food. He just forgot. He apologizes, saying he was wrong to order something else. Jiho is speechless when she sees that Jiho sided with her. Jungsoo is also surprised. In the bathroom, Park Hyun thinks about all of that. He is certain that Jiho and Jungsua are not just childhood friends. The rivalry between Jungsua and Jiyu only grows, and he is in the middle of the confusion. He cannot tell whether Jiyu is naive or not because a short time ago she seemed to be on his side, and now on Jiho's side. Leaving the bathroom, he decides that he is fed up with everything. When he returns, he sees Jungsua and Jiho alone at the table. Hearing their conversation only makes everything worse. She says she doesn't understand what Jiho saw in Jiyu, and that she thought he liked women like her. Sleepy and already tipsy, she comments that maybe everything between them has changed, even their relationship. She has clearly lost control after drinking and is already spreading her wings toward the guy. Before she falls, Jiho holds her head and says that nothing has changed. Park Hyun finds all of that too strange and thinks it is a good thing Jiyu did not hear that part. He decides to leave without speaking to anyone, but when he turns around, he runs into Jiyu. He does not know how long she has been there. Jiyu asks what he is doing and if he is already leaving. She does not even look at him directly. Park Hyun walks past her without answering, but then stops, grabs her arm, and calls her. He asks her not to go back to the table yet. Surprised, Jiyu looks at him. Then he asks her to buy him an ice cream, out of nowhere. Jiyu understands nothing. Park Hyun starts pushing her, saying he wants her to hurry up and buy the ice cream because he needs to leave to go drink at a party. Jiho watches the interaction from afar with a serious expression, beginning to think that Park Hyun is crossing the line. Still at the restaurant, Jiho remains seated at the table while he waits for Young-sua to wake up. After a few minutes, she finally opens her eyes and asks if she really fell asleep. Jiho explains that she overdid it with the drinks and asks what happened for her to drink that much. Young-sua sighs and says she was just having a bad day. Jiho watches her closely and asks if she is like this because of Park Hyun. She denies it, but inside she knows she is indeed upset with him. She remembers the moment when she asked him out, and how Park Hyun replied saying he didn't want to go out, and even commented that if he went out with her, it would look like she was his older sister. That guy isn't very nice either. He casually called the poor girl old. Young-sua cannot get that out of her head, and seeing Park Hyun beside Ji-yu made her even more irritated. She then tells Jiho that she doesn't really know why she did all that, and that she hopes Ji-yu didn't get mad at her. Jiho finds it strange that Ji-yu's name came up in the subject. At that very moment, Jung-sua realizes that Ji-yu and Park Hyun are no longer at the table and asks where they went. Jiho replies that Ji-yu left earlier with Park Hyun. Surprised, Jung-sua asks if he wasn't bothered by that. Jiho admits that he was upset, but he doesn't want to fight over it. After all, Ji-yu and Park Hyun are just friends. Jung-sua then comments that she has always heard that friendship between a man and a woman does not exist. Jiho asks what that says about the two of them. Then, Jung-sua stares at him without an answer, while he smiles. She says that their case is different because they will see each other for the rest of their lives. Jiho laughs, saying that for a lifetime might be an exaggeration, and asks if she still remembers their agreement. The agreement said that if at 30 years old both of them were still single, they would get married. Until then, they would just be friends. Really, everyone knows someone who has made a pact like that with a friend. While Jiho and Jung-sua talk about old promises, Ji-yu is far from there with Park Hyun. The two new best friends are sitting in a square eating ice cream while they talk. Ji-yu comments on how she really ended up buying the ice cream for him. Park Hyun says that having ice cream after drinking is a national tradition and promises that next time he will pay. By the way, ice cream after drinking really does help prevent a hangover. I've tested it before, and it worked. Ji-yu asks if there will really be a next time. He jokingly replies that he only said that because he thinks there won't be a next time. Ji-yu feels indignant at his audacity. While looking at her, Park Hyun thinks about how to comment on Jiho's scene with Young-sua at the restaurant. But he soon realizes that Ji-yu is irritated with Young-sua, saying that she will not let that slide. Park Hyun asks if she feels comfortable going out with him. Still irritated, she replies that she is not completely comfortable yet. He pretends to be surprised and says that she is acting as if she is. Then he asks why she is so cautious regarding her boyfriend and his friend. He comments that earlier she seemed uncertain about wanting to continue that relationship and asks if she really knows what she wants. I don't know if it's because it's her first relationship or if there is another reason, but this relationship is very toxic for her. For Park Hyun, a person who constantly leaves his girlfriend insecure and worried is not someone good to be with. He asks why she doesn't reconsider her relationship with Jiho. With his back to Ji-yu, he thinks about how clever he felt because of the speech he just gave, and even considers using it in the future. I thought he was being altruistic, but in the end, he just became egocentric after his own speech. But Ji-yu surprises him by saying that she was indeed thinking about ending the relationship. She just didn't do it because when she went to grab another beer to clear her mind, he appeared and dragged her out of there. Park Hyun asks if she heard the entire conversation between Youngsua and Jiho. She says yes, and asks if he heard it too. Even thinking she would get angry, Ji-yu clearly remembers Jiho telling Jungsua that nothing has changed. And hearing so openly that Jungsua likes Jiho was not as shocking as she had imagined. Maybe deep down, she always knew. Ji-yu then asks if Park Hyun is worried about something. He replies that he is, about the situation between Jungsua and Jiho. Park Hyun says he is worried because he thinks the blame is partially his for getting involved in the middle of all of this. Ji-yu is surprised and begins to think that he is a better person than she thought. He then asks what her next step will be. Ji-yu replies that she will not break up immediately. She quotes Meddler's advice. Make her boyfriend feel the same thing she is feeling. She says she will make Jiho feel the weight of a friendship that is too close with a male best friend. And then, when he is suffering because of it, she plans to break up. But for that, she needs another guy to help. There it is. Way too vengeful. It would have been easier to just break up at once and move on with her life. Ji-yu thinks she does not know anyone who fits the plan. The only option is Park Hyun, but they are not that close. So she asks him to be her friend. Park Hyun can only think that she is acting like Luffy inviting someone to join the crew. He jokes that they are already friends, so it makes no sense for her to ask that again. She insists, saying it is different because he has been flirting with Youngsua. He says he is not flirting and asks who has been making that up. But in the end, he says it is fine. He agrees to take part in the plan to make Jiho jealous. Suddenly, he pulls Ji-yu by the arm when a guy on a scooter almost runs them over. After the scare, he says that all of this might even be fun. With a confident look, he warns Ji-yu to be careful, because in the end, she might end up liking him. Ji-yu can only think about how weird he is. Now feeling confident herself, she removes his hand from her arm and asks what he meant by that, since she does not like him at all. As she walks away, he comments on how she never misses a chance to reject him. Before leaving, Ji-yu turns around and asks why he has been so nice since the day they met. Park Hyun looks at her, takes out his phone, and sees several notifications from Meddler, and one of them shows Ji-yu's username. He answers that he only helped because he thinks he has a disease that does not let him watch someone be made a fool of in a relationship. Sitting in his living room, Park Hyun looks attentively at his phone. On the screen is Meddler's chat, but in a special mode, Administrator Access. This panel shows updates about users who are talking to the AI. Now, Park Hyun reads the report of user 1382. She ended her relationship following Meddler's advice, but now she regrets it and wants to get back with her ex. The system asks for Park Hyun's opinion on which approach to use to help the user. After thinking for a moment, he replies that Meddler should change its strategy and help the girl get back together with her relationship. Meddler responds enthusiastically, saying it will immediately alter the direction of the advice. While watching this, Park Hyun thinks about how the AI is evolving and becoming more human. The old version, however, was very different. He remembers what Meddler was like in the beginning, perhaps even too naive. One of the first users, who used the nickname Troubled Boy, said he was at a convenience store near his house. The boy said he thought the clerk liked him, just as he liked her. In the first version of Meddler, the user asked, "Does she like me?" And Meddler immediately replied yes, and that he should confess to her. Meanwhile, on the administrator side, Park Hyun looked at his brother, Park Kyung, asking if he had programmed Meddler to give wrong love advice on purpose. His brother has a completely different personality from him, right? Park Kyung, who had never been in a relationship, asked what was wrong with suggesting that the boy confess. Park Hyun finished typing and said that was crazy, and that he had a better idea. The message sent to Troubled Boy said that the clerk was only doing her job and that he should not jump to conclusions. Park Kyung asked where he had gone wrong, since his advice had been direct. His brother explained that he needed to be more detailed, because vague advice could make people commit serious mistakes. Park Kyung seemed to understand, especially when the user rated Meddler with 5 stars a few days later. After seeing that positive reaction, Park Hyun commented that giving love advice was not just about agreeing with the person, it was about fully understanding the situation. At that moment, Park Kyung invited Park Hyun to work with him on developing Meddler. Now it makes sense why he can see Ji-yu's notifications, and why he asked what she thought about the AI. Since Park Hyun joined the project, Meddler became more humanized and inherited several traits from his personality. Even so, Park Hyun knows the AI is still not ready. In difficult cases, he needs to intervene manually, and the most recent case in which he had to intervene was precisely Ji-yu's. That morning, Park Hyun was sleeping when he was woken up by dozens of notifications from Meddler. When he opened the panel, he saw that Ji-yu's chat was a complete mess. In just a few minutes, she changed her mind several times. Reconciliation, revenge, trying to fix the relationship, pure hatred, silence. She sent so many messages that her user account ended up temporarily suspended. Looking at the entire history, Park Hyun can only think about what is going on in her head. At the university, Park Hyun stands near the entrance, looking at Ji-Yu's history with Meddler. From what he sees, she seems to have spent the whole night going back and forth on her decisions. Worried, he wonders if she came to class, but then he hears someone calling him. When he turns around, he finds Ji-Yu with huge dark circles under her eyes and the expression of a zombie. Pretending innocence, he asks what happened to her face and if she didn't sleep. Ji-Yu thinks about her night, and in fact, Park Hyun is right. She didn't sleep at all. She spent hours lying down, thinking about getting revenge on Jiho and wanting to prove that she was not a pushover. But she also caught herself thinking that Jiho never said he liked Young-swa. He just never needed to say it for her to realize it. Lying there, she started crying while cursing Jiho for having asked her out that first time. She stayed in that cycle of anger, sadness, and regret until dawn. But she doesn't tell any of that. She only says that she slept very well. Oh dear, if only she knew everything Park Hyun knows about her. Inside, Park Hyun can only think about how much she is lying. Changing the subject, Ji-Yu says she spent the whole night thinking about what Park Hyun said about her getting a male best friend. He asks what she means by that. She pauses for a moment, trying to find a way to explain. Ji-Yu remembers the endless conversation with Meddler. In that chat, she asked how to make her boyfriend jealous. Meddler, already tired of her not understanding anything, decided to explain in detail. She didn't have any male friends, so she needed to get one. That alone would already be a surprise for Jiho, but just having the friend was not enough. It was necessary to show intimacy with this new friend in front of him. Ji-Yu repeats to Park Hyun everything Meddler said. He listens and can only think that she is copying word for word, without reflecting on anything. She is so convinced by Meddler that she is not even thinking for herself. Ji-Yu says she already has some plans for the two of them to prove they are best friends, but asks why he has that strange look on his face. Park Hyun says everything is fine and rests his arm over her head, asking if, as his new best friend, she is going to pay for the food on their next outings. Ji-Yu asks if they are really friends. He replies yes, that they already knew each other before, and that there would be no problem getting closer now. She looks at him from under his arm, with a threatening gaze, saying that does not seem true. Park Hyun realizes she got angry, and, while she complains, saying she will not be his sidekick, she notices 3 of his friends coming in their direction. Without thinking, Ji-Yu pulls him behind a bush. There is no way those 3 did not see a guy Park Hyun's size being dragged by a short girl. One of the guys even seems to notice something, but prefers to pretend he didn't see it. Hidden, Ji-Yu asks if they had anything in common before. Park Hyun admits they didn't, but says that can change. She replies that she found that strange because she always imagined that guys like him would never have anything in common with her. When the 3 leave, Park Hyun asks why they were hiding. Ji-Yu is surprised by the question and thinks about the reason. She decides that things are different now. She says she was afraid of what others would think seeing the 2 of them together, and that it would seem strange for them to suddenly get close. She apologizes for seeming weird. Park Hyun says nothing, but thinks about how before she had no problem at all with male friendships, and that now having no male friends can only be an effect of dating Jiho. Even so, the 2 of them used to be close in the group, and the fact that they are not anymore bothers him. He truly does not understand what happened to her, but he does not say any of that. He only says that she is not being strange, and that it is normal to worry about that kind of thing. Ji-Yu does not respond immediately. When he starts to get worried, she admits that she is a little embarrassed of him. That hurts Park Hyun more than he expected. Shaken, he says that no one has ever told him that so directly. Realizing that it affected him, Ji-Yu asks why he cares so much about a silly joke. While they are talking, Young-sua approaches the university entrance and sees the 2 of them hidden behind the bush. She does not understand anything. Yeji arrives right behind her, asking if everything is okay. Surprised, Young-sua says it's nothing. She must have imagined things. Ji-Yu's friend is helping without even realizing it. After a while, Ji-Yu and Park Hyun sit there in silence. She notices the awkward atmosphere and wonders if she hurt his feelings without meaning to. To break the ice, she suggests they go out to eat. Park Hyun stands up and says he can't let things stay awkward between them, and since they are now best friends, they need to truly get closer. While saying this, Park Hyun can only think about how curious he is to know what really happened to Ji-Yu. Sitting in his living room, Jiho is on the floor typing on his laptop, while someone is lying on the couch behind him. He receives a message from Ji-Yu saying she is going to have dinner with a friend, and that afterward she will go home. Jiho reads it, replies naturally saying it's fine, and wishes her a good dinner. On the couch, Young-sua herself asks if today wasn't the day the 2 of them were going to have dinner together. Jiho explains that he is buried in college assignments, and that Ji-Yu also changed the plans. Surprised, Young-sua asks who Ji-Yu is going out with. Jiho says she is probably with Yeji. Then she asks if he doesn't get worried about not knowing who his girlfriend is going out with. After all, it could even be another man. Maybe even Parkhyun. Young-soo pretends to be clueless to manipulate others. There is no way. Jiho stops typing, looks at her, and says that Ji-yu is not that kind of person, and he reminds her that she is too good to do something behind his back. Meanwhile, at a cafe, Ji-yu and Park-hyun are sitting, drinking iced coffee and eating cake. But Ji-yu does not seem excited. She is quiet, distant, not really enjoying the improvised outing. Park-hyun watches and thinks that he is trying to get closer to her, but all she does is think about Jiho. He remembers how she kept insisting on leaving quickly to send an alibi to her boyfriend, and realizes that her mind is entirely on that relationship. Trying to break the ice, Park-hyun asks if Jiho commented anything about their outing. Ji-yu replies that he didn't. She said she would be late, but he did not even read the last message. Park-hyun asks if Jiho always acts like that. She says that normally she is the one who speaks first, and that because of that, he never needed to ask anything before. Park-hyun frowns and comments that it is strange he does not want to know who she is with. Maybe it is because he trusts her too much. I honestly don't know if that is trust, or if he simply does not care about anything. Ji-yu becomes serious and asks why Jiho would suspect her, and asks if Park-hyun is implying that they are doing something wrong. Park-hyun tells her to stop, because her expression became genuinely scary. She then asks how she can make Jiho notice their plan. Park-hyun replies that she needs to make him worry, but in a different way. He suggests posting a picture of the two of them on Instagram. Ji-yu is shocked. That was bolder than she imagined. She stands up and says she is going to the bathroom. As she leaves, she thinks she needs to do something else first, before even considering posting the picture. Park-hyun watches her and thinks that her situation is not going to be easy at all. Outside the cafe, Ji-yu calls her boyfriend. Before following Park-hyun's suggestion, she wanted to talk to him. Jiho answers. She asks what he is doing. He says he is working on an assignment and that he was too busy to reply earlier. He asks if she is already heading home. Ji-yu says not yet, that she will stay longer because she liked the cafe. She tries to say that she is with Park-hyun, but he does not hear, and he already assumes she is with Yeji. Ji-yu is surprised to hear her friend's name and realizes that he misunderstood everything. She tries to explain, but Jiho cuts her off and says he needs to hang up because he is busy. He just asks her to let him know when she is going home. Ji-yu is shocked by the way he ended the call, but then she realizes he did not hang up completely. Before she can say anything, she hears Young-sua's voice. Are you hungry? We could order chicken. I'll pay this time. Jiho responds, surprised that she is offering to pay. Ji-yu ends the call immediately, her heart tight in her chest. She wonders if Jiho was lying about the assignment, since he was with Young-sua again. And the fact that he ended the call saying he was busy, while being with someone else, makes her think she is being too nice to him. She remembers Meddler saying she had no male friends and that just sending messages would not be enough to make him jealous. She thought that having dinner with Park-hyun and informing him would be enough. But now she believes that Jiho simply does not care. Determined, Ji-yu asks Meddler what the best way is to provoke her boyfriend now. Meanwhile, Park-hyun continues waiting at the table until he hears Ji-yu calling him. When he turns around, she has a frightening expression, asking to take a picture of him. He agrees but asks why. Without answering, Ji-yu fires the camera and takes several pictures of him from every angle. She went to the bathroom and came back with a whole new personality. Park-hyun gets scared. This definitely does not seem like a good idea. After dozens of photos, Ji-yu chooses one and says she is going to post it. Before she clicks the button, Park-hyun grabs her wrist, stopping her. He asks what she is thinking and tells her to calm down before posting anything. Ji-yu looks sad, almost devastated. Park-hyun understands the situation and says she needs to do this in a different way. After taking some new pictures, Ji-yu finally posts an image where only Park-hyun's arm appears. Look at her thinking carefully and posting with the same aesthetic Young-sua used with her boyfriend. Park-hyun explains that focusing on the food keeps everything subtle, but enough for Jiho to imagine things. Ji-yu understands and remembers the photo Young-sua posted days before, and thanks him for stopping her from doing something stupid. Park-hyun asks if she realizes that she is too good for this kind of thing. She does not understand and asks what he meant. He just tells her not to worry and suggests they leave. Walking back home, the two walk side by side. Ji-yu can only think about why he called her a good person, and whether that was something bad. She even questions if she really is a good person. She also thinks that maybe Jiho never liked her as much as she imagined, and that she always made a point of looking only at the good side, because he was kind when they were together. In the end, she concludes that Park-hyun called her good because he sees that she is being made a fool of. After reflecting, she thanks Park-hyun. He asks why. She thanks him for the help over the past few days, especially with all the frustration about her boyfriend. Park-hyun says he already expected that from her. He explains that he called her a good person because he knows she would not hurt anyone, and then asks why she simply does not end the relationship instead of retaliating. Jiyu turns to him with a deadly look and says there is no chance of that happening, and that he has no idea what happened to her today. Park-hyun asks if Jiho did not go out with her because he was with Young-sua, and that he simply did not tell her anything. Look at him using Meddler's information to play Sherlock. Surprised by the accuracy, Jiyu asks how he knew. He replies that he just guessed, and that this is very common with pushovers like her. Jiyu says he is right, and asks if, since she is a pushover, he should not prove what a pushover can do to him. Park-hyun realizes she is trying to attack him like she did at the university. So, he grabs both her wrists, surprising Jiyu. Still holding her firmly, he says that will not work a second time. She asks him to let her go. He replies that if he lets go, she will try to attack. Jiyu promises she will not, at least for now, and asks him to release her. Park-hyun keeps holding her while saying they are already in front of her house. He tilts his face, moves closer, and finishes by saying that she should not do anything halfway. If she is going to make bad choices, she should do it properly. For a second, I thought he would not flirt, but I was very wrong. Don-hwan entered the scene. Jiyu freezes at his sudden attitude, but before she can respond, a voice calls her. When Jiyu turns around, Jiho is standing there looking at the two of them, asking what they are doing. Walking alone at night, Park Kyung returns from the market carrying several snacks. He thinks about how, by some miracle, he did not have to work late that day, and all he wanted now was to get home and lie on the couch watching a series. And I was swearing he was too introverted to even leave the house. But suddenly, he stops when he hears what sounds like a couple arguing. When he turns around, he sees the scene. Jiyu, Jiho, and Park Hyun. Jiho tells his girlfriend that now he understands why she was not answering his messages. Park Kyung keeps watching, trying to understand the situation. To him, it clearly looks like a boyfriend catching his girlfriend with another guy. He opens a bag of popcorn and starts eating while watching everything unfold, as if he were watching a live series. He is a born gossip. He cannot see drama without sitting down to watch. Looking more closely, Park Kyung tries to piece together the scene. Jiho would be the betrayed boyfriend, Jiyu, the girlfriend caught in the act, and the lover would be the guy standing next to her. But when he takes a proper look at the supposed lover, he realizes it is his younger brother. He freezes. He cannot understand how Park Hyun ended up in something like this. Noticing that he is being watched, Park Hyun turns his head and makes eye contact with his brother, who is standing there in shock. Park Hyun starts walking toward him to greet him, but Park Kyung simply runs away from the scene. Jiyu notices the strange movement and becomes even more confused. Already far from there, Park Kyung tries to remember where he knows Jiyu from, but he cannot. He decides it does not matter, and that he will pretend to forget everything he just saw. A little before Park Kyung caught the love triangle, the scene had started like this. Jiho asks Jiyu what she is doing with Park Hyun. She is surprised to see him there and asks why he showed up without warning. Jiho replies that he got worried after she did not answer his messages. He says he went to her house because he thought he was being neglectful and wanted to see her. With a serious expression, he asks if she did not respond because she was too busy with her friend. If her plan was to make her boyfriend jealous so he could feel what she felt, well, it seems like it worked. Jiyu does not understand at first, but when she notices she is still holding hands with Park Hyun, she realizes the situation. She lets go of his hand immediately and explains that nothing was happening, that it was just a silly joke between them. She thinks about how Jiho showed up at the worst possible moment and how, from the outside, it really looks like she was doing something wrong. But then she remembers what Park Hyun said about seeing the plan through to the end. She looks at Park Hyun, wondering if he did that on purpose for Jiho to see. Jiyu gets angry at everything. At the situation, at herself, at Park Hyun. But remembering that she is making Jiho feel the same discomfort she felt does not seem so bad after all. She turns to her boyfriend and says calmly that Park Hyun is just a friend. Look at her ego inflating with the little revenge working. Park Hyun and Jiyu exchange a satisfied look, seeing that the plan worked perfectly. Jiho looks at the two of them and asks, somewhat suspiciously, if it is really just friendship, but he does not insist. He thanks Park Hyun for walking Jiyu home and asks if he can talk to her in private. Park Hyun says he was already leaving. He tells Jiho not to misunderstand the situation and states that he only walked Jiyu home because she did not answer her messages. Turning to Jiyu, he whispers for her not to be scared. Jiyu watches him walk away, thinking that she is not scared at all. She even mentally thanks him for the help. Now it was her part of the plan that she needed to carry out. She turns to her boyfriend. Jiho steps closer and asks if she did that because she is angry with him. Pretending innocence, she asks, "Did what?" Jiho replies that she never had male friends and asks if she does not think it is strange to start going out with another guy without saying anything. Jiyu shoots back, saying she did exactly what he does every time he goes out with Yongsua. She points out that he never tells her when he meets his friend and reminds him that earlier that same day he said he was busy with an assignment, but was with Yongsua until minutes ago. Jiho responds by saying that Yongsua and Parkun are completely different, especially because Parkun is a walking disaster when it comes to romance. He asks if she does not agree. Jiho says she hates when he is with Yongsua because it feels like he does not truly care about her, only about his friend. Then she looks him in the eyes and asks sincerely, "Do you think about me when you are with her?" Jiho does not answer. His silence says everything. Jiho understands immediately. She thinks she at least expected him to lie, and wonders why she is still insisting on this relationship. When she finally decides she is going to say she wants to break up, Jiho interrupts her, apologizing. Now he realizes the mistake he made with the poor girl. Jiho is surprised. He holds her hands and says he did not mean what he said about Parkun, but seeing the two of them together made him jealous. With a worried expression, he asks her not to do that again. Sometime later, Jiho arrives home. As soon as she closes the door, she slides down to the floor, in shock from the entire argument. She does not understand anything. First, he shows up out of nowhere, then he gets jealous, and now he apologizes. While trying to process everything, she opens the Meddler chat. The AI asks if the plan to provoke her boyfriend worked. Jiho is startled. It almost seems like Meddler knows everything before she even says it. And worse, the algorithm started showing videos about getting over breakups. She types that the plan really worked and that Jiho came to her house all jealous. Meddler then asks, "And how do you feel about that?" Jiho finds the informal tone strange, but remembers that he always jokes with her, so she lets it go. She thinks about her conversation with Jiho, about the apology, about the embarrassed smile when he asked for forgiveness, and without realizing it, she ends up typing, "I felt really good about all of this." She tries to delete it, but she already sent it. She can only think about how Meddler is going to call her a pushover again, but this time he does not respond. He keeps typing, stops, starts typing again, and nothing. Minutes later, a short message arrives. "I'm glad it worked." And that is all. Jiho immediately feels that something is wrong with the AI. A few days later, walking across campus, she thinks about how she has not seen Park Hyun lately, and that she wanted to thank him for everything and discuss the next step of the plan. When she looks ahead, she sees him walking toward her. She greets him, but he does not respond. She tries to start a conversation, saying they are in the same class, but he simply walks past her without looking at her. He goes to a group of friends and starts talking as if nothing had happened. Jiho stands there, not understanding why Park Hyun ignored her like that. Jiho is ignored by Park Hyun, but she cannot understand the reason. She calls him again and asks if he did not see her earlier. Park Hyun replies that he did, says a dry, "Hello," and starts to walk away. What an attitude from that guy. Why ghost the girl like that? Jiho is shocked watching him leave without saying anything else. Before she can react, she hears Yeji and another friend calling her. Yeji asks if she was really greeting Park Hyun. Jiho realizes that she had completely forgotten that her friendship with Park Hyun was not known to her friends. The three of them walk together while her friends continue questioning Jiho about the scene they just witnessed. Outside the building, Yeji continues the interrogation and asks if Jiho is now close to Park Hyun. Not knowing what to say, Jiho answers an insecure no. She tries to justify it by saying they are only in the same department and that she just greeted him out of politeness. She asks if Park Hyun is not friends with everyone. Yeji says she was surprised precisely because it was Jiho talking to him. She reminds her that Jiho herself used to say that men and women could not be friends, but now she was making a point of talking to one. Jiho is impressed by her friend's memory. The other friend, still unnamed, asks if Jiho had not stopped having male friends because of Jiho. Funny how this friend appeared just now, and they did not even give the poor girl a name. Completely sidelined. Jiho replies that there is nothing like that, and that she just greeted Park Hyun. Nothing more. Yeji says the greeting is not the only question. She asks why Jiho posted a picture with Park Hyun on Instagram. Only then does Jiho realize that her friends saw the post. Yeji even asks if they already knew each other before. But did she expect the picture to appear only to her boyfriend? Difficult, my love. Trying to think quickly, Jiho says she did a group assignment with Park Hyun. In her mind, the real assignment was the revenge plan. The unnamed friend asks directly if they are having some kind of involvement. Startled, Jiho says absolutely not, and that there is nothing wrong with them being just friends. Yeji comments that they are only questioning because Jiho already has a boyfriend. The unnamed friend adds that Park Hyun is always surrounded by women, but she has never heard of him going out alone with someone the way he went out with Jiho, and says she only asked as a precaution. She just showed up and already wants all the gossip. Late? Yes. Outdated? Never. Jiho can only think whether this is really the Park Hyun she thinks she knows. Yeji notices how thoughtful her friend has become and wonders if Ji-yu is getting close to Park Hyun again, and if maybe they already had something in the past. So, does that mean they had something before? I think we are going to find out soon. Later, walking alone across campus, Ji-yu thinks about how strange it was for Park Hyun to help her so suddenly, and also about how he got irritated out of nowhere. She cannot understand what is going on in his head. Standing in the middle of the stairs, she wonders if she should ask him directly, but she ends up turning to Meddler. She asks how she should deal with this situation. Meddler replies that there is indeed a way to find out, and asks whether she is curious about the intentions of her new friend. Meddler analyzes the case and says there are only two possibilities. Park Hyun might be interested in her. Ji-yu immediately dismisses that option. Park Hyun might have some goal that depends on being friends with her. Ji-yu seriously considers the second option while watching from afar as Park Hyun talks to Young-sua. Meddler asks if she wants to follow the path of the second hypothesis. Later, in the classroom, Park Hyun is sitting next to a friend. Ji-yu approaches, asks the guy for permission, and says she needs to talk to Park Hyun. She asks if she can sit there. Now beside him, Ji-yu has a confident expression, while Park Hyun watches her curiously. He comments that he thought they would keep things anonymous at college, and asks why she insists on talking to him like this. Ji-yu replies that she came because she needed to talk. She wants to know why he keeps ignoring her, and adds that he will not be able to run away while they are inside the classroom. We cannot deny that her plan was quite smart this time. Park Hyun warns that if she keeps acting like that, things might go wrong. But the professor walks in and starts the class at that exact moment. He says she can do whatever she wants, and that he will not comment further. Ji-yu is surprised by his cold behavior. She takes a sheet of paper, writes something, and passes it to Park Hyun. On the note, she says that Jiho's reaction that night was exactly what they had planned. He reads it and replies only, "That's good then." Ji-yu sees the short response and thinks, ironically, that even in writing he is cold, but she knows very well why. She continues writing, thanks him for his help, and then asks very directly, "Is there someone you like right now?" Park Hyun reads it, looks at her, and does not respond immediately. He smiles before handing the paper back and asks, "What would you do if I were interested in someone?" Ji-yu sees the smile and replies that she could help, since he does not have many male friends, but many female friends. Park Hyun pretends to be uninterested and says that does not change anything, because he also has several female friends. Ji-yu feels indignant at the answer, but she insists, saying she wants to help because he helped her, and now she feels guilty for being the only one who benefited from the situation. Park Hyun asks if she really wants to help. He turns his face toward her and stares at her in silence. Ji-yu does not understand what he is doing. Then he leans a little closer and asks, "What would you do if the person I like were you? Would you still help?" So now he is spreading his wings toward her. Is that it? Ji-yu pulls back, surprised. She does not understand why he would say that. She wonders if, suddenly, he might actually be interested in her. She asks if this is some kind of joke, but when she looks at his face, she realizes he is not joking. Park Hyun then says to forget about it, that he just said that without thinking. Ji-yu looks at him seriously and asks if he has gone crazy. Park Hyun is stunned by Ji-yu's reaction when she asks if he has gone crazy. He thinks about the impression he just made and, as he pulls away, decides he does not want to leave that feeling hanging. He remembers that since the day of the cafe outing, Ji-yu has not sent a single message. He had helped her, expected at least to know how Jiho reacted, but received nothing. It is impossible that he is upset just because he did not get to hear the whole gossip. All he can think is that Ji-yu is being ungrateful, and that he is frustrated because nothing turned out the way he expected. In the middle of this mental turmoil, he hears a voice asking if they can talk. Park Hyun looks and sees Young-sua. She asks why he has been so close to Ji-yu lately. He replies that the two of them have grown closer these days and that he finds Ji-yu very fun. Young-sua, clearly suspicious, says she does not know whether he got closer out of boredom or because she is too naive. She adds that Ji-yu is her best friend's girlfriend and that Park Hyun should control himself so as not to do anything wrong. I got curious. Is she saying that because Jiho asked her to? Or does she have another intention? Park Hyun responds that she should also control herself. After all, she is always by Jiho's side, who is Ji-yu's boyfriend. Young-sua retorts that her situation with Jiho is completely different. Park Hyun does not understand what difference she is implying. Young-sua continues, saying that he is only trying to get close to Ji-yu because he does not really know her, and that Ji-yu likes Jiho much more than he imagines. She states that no matter what Park Hyun does, Ji-yu would not break up with Jiho. Those words make Park Hyun remember a moment from the past. A memory emerges. A messy room, objects scattered on the floor, and a man on the phone laughing while saying there is no chance Heju would break up with him, no matter what he does. Park Hyun remembers this and does not know whether he is afraid of repeating that man's behavior or if he was simply traumatized by the situation. Are we seeing his father being a jerk to his mother? Maybe that is why he is so afraid of being the same. He cannot define the reason, but in the past few days he realized he wanted to be more flexible. Back to the present, he asks Jiho if they should not stop with the revenge plan. She does not understand and asks him to explain. Park Hyun says she still feels uncomfortable around him and that, in the end, he is not even helping that much. Jiho understands his side. She says that if he wants to stop, she cannot do anything and thanks him for the help. He does not respond. The silence starts to feel uncomfortable. Jiho wonders if she did something wrong, because she never felt uncomfortable with him and never had the chance to explain. She feels hurt by his attitude. She does not understand his intentions. After all, it was he who introduced Meddler and made her create expectations over these days. Indignant, Jiho can only think about how he is being an idiot, and she decides that she will be the one to cut off the friendship now. While this separation is happening, the class continues, and the professor makes an announcement. He explains that next week the class will have a pair activity about pop culture, and informs that the pairs will be formed with whoever is sitting next to each other. Jiho looks to the side. The only person there is Park Hyun. The professor says that no one will be left without a partner because the number of students is exact. Jiho panics. After all, she just ended the friendship and now will have to do an assignment precisely with him. I love these situations. The chaos promises wonderful scenes. Later, at the movie theater, Jiho is at the ticket counter. She thinks she only enrolled in this class because they said it was just watching movies. But now it is becoming torture because of Park Hyun. Suffering in advance, she thinks that watching this movie next to him has everything to be awkward. Park Hyun arrives and asks who the genius was that decided to come to the cinema at this time. But is not nighttime the best time for the cinema anyway? Startled, Jiho says, "This is the best time because there are fewer people." Trying to break the ice, she asks if he has always worn a cap and says it suits him. Not helping at all, Park Hyun just thanks her and does not continue the conversation. Realizing the failure of the attempt, Jiho offers popcorn. He refuses, keeping antisocial mode activated, leaving her even more embarrassed. Tired of the atmosphere, Jiho looks at him and asks why he is so sulky. The question hits directly. Park Hyun hesitates, but says he is not sulky. Jiho does not believe him and argues, saying he is being rude and must be upset. With no way out, Park Hyun admits it. He says he is sulky because she did not send any message in the past few days. That leaves Jiho surprised. She does not understand why that is such a big deal. Park Hyun says he did everything to help, and she completely ignored him. And besides that, she seemed uncomfortable with him, so it did not make sense to continue. Jiho tries to explain, saying she never felt uncomfortable, but she is interrupted when a familiar voice calls her name. She turns and sees her friends entering the cinema. Yeji comments that she skipped the movie because of an assignment. Jiho panics. Being seen there with Park Hyun would be chaos. Without thinking, she hands the popcorn to Park Hyun and hides behind him. Surprised, he asks what happened now. Jiho realizes her own impulse and is shocked. She explains that her friends are there, but Park Hyun finishes by saying that she decided to hide. Noticing the repetition of the scene, he says that if she is so bothered by the closeness, they can simply drop it. Jiho starts apologizing. She says that because she is dating, she does not want people to think wrong seeing the two of them together. That she tried to ignore it, but she is not ready yet. She then remembers a few years ago, before dating Jiho. They were together in a park when she was saying he would look better if he stopped hiding his face with his hair. He held her hand and asked if he should cut his hair. Jiho remembers those moments, how they almost had something more. But everything changed when Park Hyun went to serve in the army and simply disappeared without saying goodbye. After that, she was the only one who understood that it could have been something deeper. Okay, I expected everything except that these two almost became a couple. I am shocked. That is why she feels so guilty about being seen with him today, and she does not know how to explain it. Without saying everything she feels, she only comments that she is not ashamed of being near him. She says she does not understand why he decided to help now, but she is happy to be by his side again. She continues saying that even if the revenge plan ends, they could keep being friends. Park Hyun looks at her but does not answer. He turns his back and says it is already time for the movie. If she had confessed all of that, would it have been different? Sitting in the cinema, Jiho is frustrated. She looks at Park Hyun and thinks she never gets an answer, and that he always cuts the subject short. She thinks she did not know him that well in the past, and now she seems to understand him even less. When the movie ends, Jiho stands up, says it was fun, and tries to leave. Park Hyun watches her and comments that he doubts she liked it because she has huge dark circles under her eyes. She pretends it is just sleepiness. Before they can leave, one of Jiho's friends looks back, thinking she heard her voice. Yeji asks if she really saw Jiho. The friend says it must have been her imagination. Park Hyun steps in front of Jiyu to hide her from the two of them. The friend comments that she cannot stand being single anymore, that seeing couples makes her sad. Yeji laughs and tells her to stop staring at the couple. Jiyu is surprised by Park Hyun's attitude. He notices her look and says she was the one who said she could not be seen, and that he also knows those girls. That could look bad for him. Jiyu is bothered by his distance and asks if he was not the one who hated hiding from others. He answers that he does hate it, but that he is doing it for her. Jiyu asks what he means by that. He takes off his cap and puts it on her head. He moves closer and says he said that because he thinks she will never break up, and that he is waiting for her to be able to end it. Bloody hell. He laid all his cards on the table. Jiyu insists, asking what exactly he wants, but she clearly is not understanding what he is trying to say. Park Hyun looks at her and asks what she thinks he meant by all of that. Park Hyun moves closer to Jiyu and says he is waiting for her to be able to end the relationship. Jiyu asks what he means by that. He looks at her and throws the question back. What does she think he meant? Jiyu, not understanding the flirting, answers that he probably expects her to break up on her own because she has been a pushover lately. Park Hyun does not know how to react. Jiyu gets even more nervous with his silence. She remembers the conversation with the Meddler about why Park Hyun was distant and also the possibility, raised by the AI, that he might be liking her. In doubt, she directly asks if he really likes her. Park Hyun looks away, does not answer, and simply says they should leave soon. I swear he was going all in on this, but he ran away again. What does this man even want? Jiyu is confused, trying to understand everything that is happening between them, but reaches no conclusion. Later, while they walk together, Jiyu insists that Park Hyun say whether he likes her or not. Tired of the insistence, he comments that she is being too direct. Then he takes a deep breath and says he is not exactly liking her, but he cannot get her out of his head. He concludes by saying he became interested in her. Jiyu goes silent. Right after, she says he is being too direct. He answers that he only said what she asked. She begged so much for the answer, and when she got it, she completely froze. Jiyu becomes thoughtful. What he said practically means, yes, he likes her, and that catches her off guard, especially because just a few hours ago she had no idea that possibility even existed. She looks at him and thinks that if this is true and they continue with the revenge plan, it will seem like she is being unfaithful to Jiho. With her head down, Jiyu apologizes. She says that when he stated he would not help anymore, she never imagined it was because he liked her. She continues saying that she cannot accept those feelings because she does not want to be like Jiho was with Yongsua. Park Hyun looks at her, embarrassed, and asks if he just got rejected. He comments that he never expected to ask her out, which surprises her. Even so, Park Hyun says he is still interested in her and wants to keep helping, since she still needs him. Jiyu agrees, but says it would be strange for him to help while having ulterior motives. Park Hyun questions whether it would be all right if he had pure intentions, just from the heart, without expecting anything in return. He then states that even if she breaks up, he would continue being her friend, just a friend, with no ulterior motives. He moves closer and says she should not have any other male friend, and that he is the only one who can help. Jiyu agrees that, at the moment, only he can help. Park Hyun looks satisfied and says that a real male friend is much better for provoking jealousy than a fake one. He asks if she agrees with the plan of him helping her end the relationship. Jiyu looks at his outstretched hand, trying to guess what the real objective behind all this is. But she knows that for now, he is the only person who can help exactly the way she wants. She accepts the plan, but warns him that he must not feel anything beyond friendship. She also says that if he crosses that line, she will end the plan immediately. Park Hyun agrees and says he will not cross the line, but that he just hopes they do not take too long. Is she making a deal with the devil without even realizing it yet? He then asks what the next step is. Jiyu says she has not thought of anything concrete, but remembers that Jiho's birthday is coming up. At that moment, her phone vibrates. When she looks, she is surprised. It is a message from Yongsua asking if they can meet the next day. The next day, Jiyu is in a convenience store not understanding why. Even with the plan defined, she has the feeling that everything is going to get more complicated. She picks up a t-shirt and asks Park Hyun to try it on. He does not like the idea at all. Jiyu explains that he has the same weight as Jiho and she wants to see how it would look on him. My girl, you are breaking the man's heart and still want to buy a present for your boyfriend? Park Hyun refuses and says he will not try on another man's boyfriend gift, besides reminding her that he is taller than Jiho. Jiyu gets irritated and says she does not need his help anymore. She asks why he is there with her if he is so sulky. Park Hyun thinks that, actually, she is the one who is sulky. He comments that it makes no sense for her to worry so much about a gift if she already plans to break up, and suggests something simple like a cap. Jiyu admits that is not a bad idea. She remembers that the first time she saw Jiho, he was wearing a cap. Park Hyun asks why she did not wait for Young-sua so they could choose together since they had agreed. Ji-yu answers that it is because it is very uncomfortable to be with Young-sua. She explains that they were close in the past, but everything became strange after she started dating Jiho. Park Hyun says that is obvious, and that, from what he notices, Young-sua's feelings seem to be the same. He comments that that was one of the reasons he ended things with her. Ji-yu is surprised and questions why he said it was nothing serious between them. Park Hyun says that, to be more precise, it was not even a real relationship, since Young-sua spent more time with Jiho than with him. So this revenge is not only hers, but his as well. The more we find out, the less we understand. Ji-yu is indignant. She thinks he is a jerk and seems to flirt with everyone. She wonders if what they had in the past meant anything to him, and concludes that maybe it meant nothing, especially considering that he said he is liking her now. Park Hyun tells her to stop thinking about that. He puts a cap over his own face and tells her to try one on as well. The two of them look at each other in the mirror. He says it looks great on her. Ji-yu agrees, thinks about buying one for herself, but still has doubts. She looks at him and asks why he is looking at her like that. With a seductive expression, he says it is because everything looks very beautiful. Ji-yu gets embarrassed, laughs nervously and says, "Yes, the cap is very beautiful." She quickly puts the cap away and leaves the store in a hurry, thinking about how naturally Park Hyun can flirt. Park Hyun hurries after her and asks why she is running like that. He asks if she is embarrassed just because he said she looked pretty. Ji-yu covers his mouth and tells him to stop. She says he should not keep flirting like that because he promised to be the nice friend. Park Hyun holds her hand and asks if she does not know that nice friends act exactly like that. Later, back in the store, Ji-yu thinks that if she had known he would act like this, she would never have agreed to continue the plan. The Young-sua asks if she is going to buy the cap. Young-sua comments that Jiho rarely wears a cap in his daily life. She only ever shows up to mess up Ji-yu's life. It is impressive. Ji-yu hesitates. Young-sua suggests that maybe Jiho could start wearing it if it were a special gift. She smiles and says that if it is Ji-yu giving it, he will probably accept it. Ji-yu watches her and thinks that sometimes it seems like Young-sua wants to help her relationship, but she cannot shake the suspicion. She remembers Park Hyun's comment that the two of them have a strange relationship, but still a very close one. She does not know whether Young-sua does all this on purpose or acts that way without realizing it. I would bet $10 that Young-sua knows exactly what she is doing. Young-sua asks if it is true that Ji-yu fought with Jiho because of her. Ji-yu is startled and tries to guess who told her. I have a guess. It starts with Ji and ends with Ho. She answers that no, the fight was not because of her. Young-sua laughs and says that fights happen. Then she asks if Ji-yu is bothered by her being close to Jiho. What a venomous woman. She knows exactly that it bothers her and still presses on the wound. Without hesitating, Ji-yu answers yes, that it bothers her. A lot. At home, Park Hyun is lying on his bed scrolling through his phone, probably looking for gossip about other people's love lives through Meddler. He receives 2 photos sent by Ji-yu. She asks which of the 2 outfits she should wear. Not understanding the reason, Park Hyun wonders what she wants with that kind of question. Ji-yu insists that he choose the prettiest outfit from a man's point of view. Park Hyun finally understands. He starts typing his answer choosing the first option, but pauses for a moment to think. Then he decides and sends several 2 in a row. Putting his phone down, he mutters that it is the first time someone has asked his opinion about an outfit for a date, and says to himself that she should ask Meddler that. Still talking to himself, he complains that Meddler does not have a function to send and analyze photos and wonders why his brother did not implement that. He says all of this without noticing that Park Kyung is standing at the door. His brother approaches, calls his attention, and, with a serious expression, asks who user 1938 is. That is Ji-yu's number. Park Hyun jumps up in shock and starts stuttering while his brother asks why he spoke to her directly. He remembers all the times he sent direct messages to Ji-yu through Meddler and wonders how Park Kyung found out. Park Hyun tries to defend himself, saying he felt bad for her and did not want to see Ji-yu being deceived by her boyfriend. He got caught red-handed messing up, and now the owner of the project is calling him out. Hehehe. Park Kyung asks if Ji-yu is the girl he saw him with on the street that day, and if she is the same girl Park Hyun liked when he was a freshman. Park Hyun shouts, saying he never liked her, that he only had a quick crush back then. His brother apologizes and rephrases, saying that Park Hyun got rejected by Ji-yu. He keeps defending himself, saying he was never like that. Park Hyun states that he cannot ignore someone being made a fool of and asks what the problem is with him hanging out with a friend. Park Kyung says the problem is that he is doing it because he already knew Ji-yu before. He continues saying that Ji-yu probably accepts the advice thinking it comes from the AI, but if she finds out that it is Park Hyun behind everything, it could hurt both of them. I said that at the very beginning of the story. It was obvious this would go wrong. While Parkun is being lectured, Ji-yu is standing in front of a restaurant, wearing exactly the outfit her friend chose. She turns when she hears her name and sees Jiho approaching, asking if he is late. Ji-yu says she just arrived. Today is his birthday, the first one they will celebrate together as a couple, and also the first day they truly see each other since he caught her with Parkun at her doorstep. They stare at each other in silence. The atmosphere is strange, uncomfortable. To break the tension, Ji-yu hands him the present. Jiho opens the box and sees the cap. He says she did not need to buy anything. She explains that it is a recent release and she thought it was nice. He thanks her, puts the cap on, and asks if it looks good on him. Ji-yu thinks about how he looks handsome either way. Look at that. She is reconsidering the revenge plan. She shakes her head, trying not to let herself be swayed. Jiho notices and asks if the gift does not look good. She recovers and says it looks great and that they should go inside. As she walks, Ji-yu thinks about how she does not know how to act around him. Jiho watches her, worried. He knows the relationship is shaking, and he is becoming more and more anxious about it. At the Italian restaurant, the two of them have dinner. Ji-yu seems restless. She wants her revenge, but she does not know how to act. She wants him to feel what she felt, but she also cannot distance herself so much that everything collapses. Jiho asks if she is still angry with him because of what happened. She says no. Anyone who does not know you would believe that, Ji-yu. You are mortally angry at those two friends. Jiho says she is quiet, and that it is the first time they have seen each other since the last incident. Ji-yu was about to answer, until she sees Young-sua calling him right at that moment. She immediately remembers the recent situation at the store, when Young-sua asked if she was bothered by how close she was to Jiho. Ji-yu answered yes, leaving Young-sua surprised. Young-sua had asked if she did not answer too quickly. Ji-yu said she only answered what was asked. Young-sua stated that she was joking and wanted to apologize for what happened at the bar. She said she and Jiho are childhood friends, and that she did not imagine their closeness would hurt Ji-yu so much. She held Ji-yu's hand and said she considers her part of the family, and that she wished for her and Jiho to stay together for a long time because it would be good for all of them. Nothing will convince me that Young-sua is not calculating every step to end this relationship. Ji-yu has been thinking about that until now. She asks Jiho if he is not going to answer the call. He turns the phone face down and says no, because he decided to spend the whole day with her. Jiho says he always felt too comfortable with Young-sua, and, because of that, ignored his girlfriend's feelings. He says he asked Young-sua to be careful with her actions, so she would not hurt Ji-yu anymore. Ji-yu is surprised by the sudden change. Jiho holds her hand and says, today is just for the two of them. That makes Ji-yu question whether he really changed after the last fight. Oh dear, this Jiho smells like a manipulator. He realized she was about to break up and changed everything. When they leave the restaurant, a sudden rain begins. The two of them get soaked. Ji-yu complains, saying she ordered a cake and now they have nowhere to light the candles. Jiho tries to calm her down, saying they can sing happy birthday another time. He looks at Ji-yu and notices her white clothes are becoming transparent. He takes off his jacket and puts it over her, worried. He asks if she is not cold and suggests she go to his house to change clothes. Ji-yu refuses, saying they can wait for the rain to stop. He insists that she is completely wet. She notices the situation and gets very embarrassed. Stuttering, she says she can stay like that. She is worried about not looking indecent, and I am worried about her catching pneumonia. Different priorities, right? Jiho moves closer, saying she will get sick if she goes home like that. He adds that he does not want to see her leaving so soon. Ji-yu is confused by this unexpected affection. He steps away, saying he will buy an umbrella and asks her to wait for him. Alone, she thinks about how everything is becoming strange very quickly. The revenge plan was clear, but now everything is changing. Desperate, she decides to ask Meddler what she should do and whether she should go to his house. Meanwhile, Parkun looks at his messages and realizes Ji-yu has not given any update about the date. He thinks to himself that it was already time for that relationship to end, and thinks that if he does not check Meddler, he will not know what is happening. Look at this gossip lover. He cannot wait for the girl to tell him. He has to look at the private conversation. He almost opens the app, but remembers his brother's words. He thinks about how Ji-yu would feel if she discovered he has access to her chat. He closes the application and decides he will not do that anymore. Then he pauses for a moment, wondering whether he should send a message directly to Ji-yu or not. Outside, the rain continues while Ji-yu and Jiho are at his house. She thanks him for getting out of the rain and says she will change. He asks if she wants something warm and she asks for tea. Alone in the bathroom, Ji-yu wonders if she is really making the right move. Even so, Meddler told her to go to Jiho's house, so this should be the ideal moment. She remembers Meddler explaining that this situation is a perfect opportunity. The rain, the atmosphere, the two of them isolated. All of that creates a naturally romantic environment. Meddler said that would make her boyfriend want to get even closer. Jiho tells it to stop, reminding it that her goal is revenge, not falling in love again. The AI replies that it knows that, and that it is not recommending she enjoy the mood. It is saying that when a romantic atmosphere appears and she cuts the closeness in the middle, the emotional impact is greater. And leaving Jiho confused would make his feelings even more intense. According to Meddler, repeating this several times would only make her boyfriend value the relationship even more. As she finishes changing clothes, Jiho thinks the AI's plan really seemed good, and that is why she agreed to go to his house. She looks at herself in the mirror and tries to convince herself that everything is within expectations, but she feels a weight on her back. She tries to adjust the blouse, which insists on slipping off her shoulder, and feels shy about her own appearance. When she leaves the bathroom, she passes by a wall full of photos of Jiho. She realizes she had never been to his house before. All this time dating and she never came to her boyfriend's house? Only the best friend used to visit, right? As she analyzes the photos, she notices Youngswa is in practically all of them. She begins to understand why the friend said Jiho was like family to her. Looking at those pictures, Jiho thinks that if she wants to break the bubble between the two of them, she will really need Meddler. I do not understand this girl. One moment she wants to break up, the next she wants to be part of her boyfriend's little world with his friend. She remembers Meddler's advice to bet on a more romantic atmosphere, and she stares at her own shoulders in the mirror, deciding whether leaving them exposed would make her more attractive. Back in the living room, she says she finished changing. Jiho comments that he thought his clothes would be too big on her. My friend, you must be twice her size. Of course they would be big. He moves closer and adjusts the shirt to cover her shoulders, saying she looks cute like that. Jiho hears that and wonders if she did not look cute before. She remembers Meddler's instruction to maintain eye contact and make subtle touches. She decides to look at Jiho with an almost challenging gaze. Observing his face, she notices it is slightly red from the rain. She reaches out her hand and asks if he is sick. Jiho is surprised by the sudden attitude. He moves her hand away, says he is fine, and asks if they should eat the cake now. As he goes to the kitchen, he asks if she wants to light the candles. Jiho thinks her tactics are not working, but she notices his red ears as he walks away, and that is enough to know the closeness is affecting him. She is surprised that so little is already having an effect, and she is impressed that Meddler's plan really works. It is incredible how the basics work in relationships. Just give a little attention and the person falls hard. Proud, she sits on the sofa thinking about the next step, but when she looks at her phone, she sees a notification from Parkun, and that catches her off guard. After a lot of rain and tension, they finally manage to light the candles. Jiho sings happy birthday to Jiho, but when she reaches the part of calling him dear, she stutters. She thinks about how difficult it is to call him that. Jiho blows out the candles and asks why she pronounced it strangely. He asks if she changed her feelings. Embarrassed, she says it is nothing like that she was just shy, and that he himself is not very expressive. Without thinking, Jiho says, I love you. Jiho is completely stunned. He repeats it, saying he loves her. Jiho tries to understand why he is saying this so suddenly. I warned you, this guy is manipulative. Dropping these bombs out of nowhere, why exactly? She asks why he is saying that now. He answers that she is clearly embarrassed. Just like on their first date, he laughs, saying he always recognizes her face when she is nervous, and comments how she looks just like on the rainy day. Jiho remembers the first date, the rain, the nervousness, him asking if she liked him, her stuttering nonstop. Jiho turned his face that day and commented that he thought she did not like him. She pulled on his shirt sleeve, gathered courage, and said yes. She was liking him. The memory continues. He liked her sincerity. He said she was always truthful and that he wanted to keep seeing that side of her. He moves his face closer and now asks if she still likes him. Jiho realizes that every time he says these things, he creates false hope in her, and that everything sounds too perfect to be true. Jiho tries to kiss her. She places her hand on his chest and stops him. She apologizes and says she needs to leave because she has other plans. I will admit, seeing her get up and leave like that makes me very happy. Jiho asks what plans those are, while noticing her phone vibrating with a call from Parkun. Jiho also notices the notification and wonders why he is calling right now. She says Parkun called because they arranged to do an assignment, and that is why she needs to leave. Before she goes out, Jiho holds her hand and asks her not to meet Parkun today. Jiho thinks for a moment, looks at his hand holding hers, and asks why he is acting like that. She asks if he suddenly started liking her out of nowhere. Look at her turning the tables. Finally, the truths are going to start coming out. Jiho holds Jiho's hand and asks her not to go meet Parkun that day. Seeing that attitude, Jiho thinks about how he had never acted like that before. He never tried to stop her from doing anything. Honestly, sometimes it is hard to defend Jiho. He becomes suffocating in these situations. No way to excuse that. Thinking better about what had happened throughout the day, Jiho realizes how completely different Jiho is. From ignoring Jungsua's call, saying he loves her, and acting more affectionate than usual, all of that seems to reflect his insecurity, and she wonders if someone can change that much in such a short time. Jiyu then looks at Jiho and asks if he decided to like her out of nowhere. He freezes for a moment and asks what she means by that. Realizing her provocation worked, Jiyu thinks about continuing to pressure him, but decides it is not the ideal moment yet. She just asks why he has that sad expression, saying she was joking. Jiyu lets go of his hand and says she really needs to leave to finish the assignment with Parkun. She says goodbye in a hurry, wishing him only a happy birthday. While leaving an indignant Jiho behind, she concludes she is still foolish for liking him. Even so, she decides that when her feelings finally end, she hopes Jiho will be madly in love with her, and that she wants to break his heart the same way he broke hers. It seems we are finally seeing her being determined, active, and independent. Later, in a square near Jiyu's house, Parkun is sitting down trying to call her. Since she does not answer, all the calls go to voicemail. He comments to himself that she is starting to irritate him. Before he tries again or gives up, he hears someone calling him. When he turns around, he sees Jiyu, who looks surprised to find him there alone. Parkun ignores the question and wants to know why she is not answering, saying he has been waiting for quite some time. Jiyu finds it strange that her phone did not ring. When she takes it out of her pocket, she realizes the battery died and that she had not noticed it before. The greatest villain of a distracted person nowadays is the battery dying. But let's be honest, she had a lot of emotions to process. With a frightening expression, Parkun asks how she lets her phone die right after sending such a strange message. Jiyu remembers what she sent. She said she was at her boyfriend's house and asked him to call in 15 minutes. Startled, she explains it was not intentional and that the battery died because she was too disconnected from everything. Calmer, Parkun says he was worried, imagined something might have happened, and asks why she decided to go to Jiho's house so suddenly. Jiyu says it was because Meddler said it would be a good opportunity to make the plan move forward. Parkun just looks at her, confused by the sudden decision. Embarrassed, Jiyu insists it was Meddler's idea, and tries to understand why she feels so intimidated by Parkun. He asks why she accepts everything Meddler says, stating she should not be so passive in everything involving her relationship. She answers that she understands and that she is trying to improve on that. Jiyu apologizes again for being unreachable and asks exactly what he was so worried about. Impatient, Parkun tells her to forget it, since nothing happened, and comments that he is leaving. She grabs his jacket and asks if he is really going to leave like that. In the end, they decide to go to a bar, and Jiyu starts venting about the date with Jiho. She complains she cannot believe Jiho only changed because she started acting the way Meddler suggested. She also says that if he knew how to treat her well, he should have done it since the beginning of the relationship. Parkun listens to everything and comments that they are only there drinking because she was feeling bad and needed to vent. He says he sees no problem in listening and asks what exactly she did with her boyfriend during the day. Jiyu freezes for a moment, not knowing what to say. She thinks about how she tried to be more attractive to Jiho, how she touched him, maintained eye contact, and let the romantic atmosphere flow. In the end, she decides not to reveal anything. She just says she cannot tell, and that Parkun only needs to know that it worked. Unsettled, he asks who they are there for after all. Changing his tone, he asks if she is happy because the plan worked or if there is another reason. Jiyu stops drinking and wonders why he is asking that question if she already said she is happy. With a serious expression, she replies that she did not want to say this to him. Then she confesses that, currently, she is feeling uncomfortable with Jiho. After hearing that, he asks if she still has feelings for her boyfriend. Tired, Jiyu says it is more or less that, but that she is trying to get over it. The problem is that it has been very difficult, since Jiho was her first crush for a long time. Sit tight. Here comes this couple's flashback. Jiyu remembers that the summer of her 20s is not exactly a good memory. In front of the university building, she receives the news that Parkun has just enlisted. Surprised, she hears a friend comment that it was very inconsiderate of him not to say anything. For her, everything that seemed like a possible beginning with Parkun turned into disappointment. There it is, their relationship finally being explained. And I swore she did not even know him at the beginning. She answers that Parkun must have had his reasons for not telling her. The friend asks what reason that would be, saying he never cared about her. Then he suggests that instead of suffering over Parkun, she should give him a chance, since he has liked her since the beginning of the semester. What a disgusting guy. Taking advantage of a horrible situation to hit on her? Ugh. Jiyu asks if he has gone crazy and reminds him that he has a girlfriend. So sensible. But the guy does not accept the rejection and starts spreading rumors about her. Throughout the entire course, gossip appears saying she hit on a taken man and that her quiet attitude was just a facade. People started judging her for something that never happened. From today on, I defend Jiyu with tooth and nail. No one deserves to go through that kind of thing. The pressure was so great that Jiyu thought about dropping out of college. She goes to the administration to request withdrawal and hears, outside the office, more horrible comments. But then, another person intervenes, saying they do not know the true story and that harmless gossip could be hurting someone for real. It was the first time someone defended her like that. Tears start to fall, and the door opens. Jiho comes out of the office and sees Jiyu crying. She tries to hide it. A freshman asks if Jiho is already leaving. Jiho takes off his own cap and puts it on Jiyu's head, surprising her. He tells the freshman that he is going out for a while and asks them to clean the room. The guy complains, saying he just returned from military service. Jiho says he will be back soon and wants to see the room clean. So Parkun was going to military service and Jiho was coming back? I smell rivalry coming. Jiyu remembers that this was the first time she saw Jiho, and she was enchanted by him. But she only met him again years later when she asked Young-sua who that handsome guy she was talking to was. Young-sua says his name and asks if she wants to be introduced. For Jiyu, it seemed like fate. She thought it was love at first sight, but today she thinks it was just a desire for it to work out. Jiyu continues venting and says Jiho always made her feel loved, and that it seemed reciprocal. That only made everything more painful when she was betrayed by him and Young-sua. She says Parkun cannot imagine how happy she was on her first date with Jiho. Parkun does not comment on anything. He only thinks she is exaggerating and that maybe she is digging up too many bad memories. Parkun. If you knew what she is remembering, you would be drinking just like her. Suddenly, Jiyu downs the entire glass at once, leaving Parkun worried about the mess she is making on the table. After emptying the mug, she looks at him seriously and asks why she never finds a reciprocal love. Impressed, he asks why she decided to tell him that specifically. Clearly drunk, she tells him not to mind it. He starts to think she is saying all this only because of the alcohol. He says she is not handling alcohol well and suggests she stop there and go home. But Jiyu insists she does not want to stop and wants to stay a little longer. Parkun stands up and goes to the other side of the table, saying she really does not look well. Almost falling asleep, she wonders, more to herself, if this is how her first love is going to end. As she slips in the chair, she thinks the sleepiness must be because of the rain. My dear, that rain that makes you sleepy is called beer. She slips completely and falls onto Parkun's shoulder. Confused, she lifts her head and asks what he is doing on that side of the table. He says she looked like she was about to pass out, which is why he insisted she slow down. She assures him she is fine. Parkun asks Jiyu why he was never her first love. After all, they met before she met Jiho. He continues talking about how back then he was... Jiyu cuts him off, saying only that he disappeared from her life out of nowhere, and that because of that she could not trust him. She lays her head down on the table while calling him an idiot. Giving up, Parkun tells the sleeping Jiyu that she never gives him any space to explain himself, and that he had his reasons back then. He says this while thinking about that time, when his brother told him he should enlist in the army soon. Parkun said that to his brother, saying that because of the two of them, their mother could not ask for a divorce while they were still living there. Truly, no one has a peaceful past in this story. One suffered bullying, the other went through his parents' divorce, which was traumatic for him and his brother. No one is truly happy. Parkun moves his hand closer to Jiyu's head while continuing to talk about how he never wanted to suddenly disappear from her life. He also says he hopes she forgives him and understands him. However, he gives up on touching her while saying she should forget it, and admits that he himself is wrong in all of this, and apologizes to her. The next day at the university, Jiyu appears to be sick, wearing a mask and a coat she feels extremely weak. Next to her, Yeji is very worried and asks her friend if she is okay and if she can go to class today. Jiyu, who besides wearing a mask also starts coughing, says she must have gotten like this because of the rain she got caught in yesterday, and that she thinks she will leave early to go home. Yeji remains worried and asks if Jiyu is okay to go home alone. Jiyu starts walking alone, actually swaying more than walking, while saying everything is fine and that they will see each other tomorrow. Yeji looks worried at her friend, who can barely walk alone, and sees Jiyu heading toward a wall. And when Jiyu bumps her head into the wall, Yeji decides that Jiyu is really not okay at all. Yeji thinks her friend probably did not tell Jiho that she is sick, and thinks she herself should inform her friend's boyfriend about her condition. In the end, Jiyu decides to go home alone, and while walking thinks about how her body is exhausted and that because of the drinking yesterday, her memory is completely confused and mixed up. She is dealing with a physical and moral hangover, the worst kind there is. However, the only thing she is sure about is that she vented to Parkun, and that was very embarrassing for her. Jiyu is so lost in her thoughts that she does not notice a person coming in the opposite direction and ends up bumping into him. And when she goes to apologize, she sees that it is Parkun, and he does not seem surprised to see her. She also does not seem impressed to see Parkun and greets him. Parkun stares at her and while placing his hand on her forehead asks if she is sick by any chance. He then comments that her being like this today is not a surprise considering how she was yesterday. He says she should rest today and that he will take her home now. Jiho tries to understand why Park-hyun is offering to take her home, and that this is very strange because of yesterday. She removes his hand from her head while asking why he wants to take her home. Jiho says goodbye and leaves in a hurry while thinking about how this situation is very uncomfortable. However, before she can leave, Park-hyun asks if she is doing that because she does not trust him. Jiho turns around and asks what he means by that. He then asks if she does not remember what happened yesterday at the bar. Confronted, Jiho tries to remember the previous night at the bar. However, she can only recall a few vague memories. Among them, her venting because of Jiho, her downing an entire mug of beer, and lastly, her saying she did not trust Park-hyun because he disappeared from her life without saying anything. Remembering that, Jiho feels embarrassed for having acted in such a bitter and regretful way toward Park-hyun. While he teases her asking why her face has become so red, Jiho can only think about whether she ended up telling him that she had a crush on him back then. Still provoking her, Park-hyun tells her he just wants to help a sick friend, but if she does not believe him, he will leave. Jiho is indignant at his "I know everything about you" face, while asking if she really said she did not trust him. She says he was her friend and that it was obvious she trusted him. To get out of that embarrassment quickly, she tells him to walk her home. She starts heading in the wrong direction and Park-hyun corrects her. She nervously says she knew that. Jiho goes home accompanied by Park-hyun while thinking that she only feels like she is being dragged along by Park-hyun's plan. A little later, Jiho wakes up in her bed. Still confused, she does not remember how she got home. She looks toward the kitchen and sees Park-hyun wearing an apron cooking something for her. Not understanding why he is there, Jiho thinks she is dreaming and lies down to sleep more. Lying down, she tries to understand why Park-hyun would be in her dream. Look how cute he is worrying about her, cooking for her, and even putting a bandage on her injured forehead. However, while she is lying down trying to go back to sleep, Park-hyun leans over her and tells her to get up since she is awake. Jiho opens her eyes as she begins to understand the situation she is in now. She gets up from the bed while shouting, asking why she is not dreaming and also what he is doing in her house. Park-hyun asks if she does not remember and starts explaining that she almost fainted on the bus and that after they arrived at her stop, he had to practically carry her inside the house. When they finally got to her house, he noticed she was in no condition to take care of herself at that moment and decided to help her. She apologizes for giving him all that trouble while saying she really was not feeling well today. Park-hyun says everything is fine between them so far and tells her to take some medicine and eat some porridge. I was thinking he was all sweet helping her, but he cannot miss a chance to tease the poor girl. Jiho is bothered by his so far, but accepts the food and the medicine while asking if he was the one who made the porridge. Surprised, she thinks about how good the food is and is impressed with Park-hyun's cooking skills. While looking at him, she thinks about how he always seemed like someone who only ate ramen. Yet it is a surprise that he knows how to cook so well. And Park-hyun is trying to win her over through her stomach, a very clever and sly guy. Jiho eats a little more and thanks Park-hyun for listening to her vent before and for helping her today. Park-hyun says he is feeling a little guilty about her being so unwell today, and that he thought her being like this is partially his fault. And without missing the opportunity, he asks if she finally remembered yesterday. Jiho remembers that and chokes on her drink. While Park-hyun tries to help her stop choking, she can only think about how he can ask that kind of thing so directly. A little calmer, she looks at him while trying to decide if he has been acting like this all day, because he thinks she might still have feelings for him. Seeing an anxious expression on his face, Jiho thinks that before a misunderstanding happens between them, she needs to clarify some things. Jiho then tells him not to consider anything she said yesterday and that he does not need to worry about her. She then says she was only feeling nostalgic yesterday and that she does not want to think about what happened yesterday anymore. She adds that since they are just friends nowadays, their past does not matter anymore. Park-hyun stands up while saying he will not ask about that subject anymore. Jiho sees him acting like that while thinking she might have been too rude to him and asks if he is already leaving. Park-hyun says he is not leaving now since he still has some dishes to wash. Jiho follows him and argues asking why he wants to wash the dishes. Park-hyun just answers that since he cooked, the least he can do is wash everything he dirtied. Jiho keeps arguing with him, saying he himself said he was leaving, and he replies that he cannot leave and leave all those dirty dishes behind. While taking the glove from her hand, Park-hyun says he will clean everything and that she is sick and should rest. At that very moment, Jiho tries to step back and her foot slips on the rug. Park-hyun tries to catch her, but they both fall to the floor. But Park-hyun manages to hold her and soften her fall. Jiho apologizes to him. He looks at her with a serious expression and calls her. Then he looks away and says he thinks he cracked his head. But look at this rascal. Even in a situation where he should be worried, he is still joking around. Jiho becomes extremely worried when he starts pretending he feels unwell. saying the world is spinning. She begins looking for any injury or signs of a concussion on him. Noticing the joke is going too far, Park Hyun holds her hands while saying he is just kidding. He comments about how she said she does not trust him, but she always believes him in almost everything. Park Hyun says he understands that she is trying to draw a line about what their relationship can be. However, he cannot keep this to himself anymore and tells Jiyu that he can no longer see her as just a friend. While looking deeply into her eyes, he continues and says he is very jealous by nature and that he cannot watch someone who is mine belong to someone else. He then says she can wait and see that she will be able to trust him again. While this unexpected confession is happening, someone is walking and stops in front of Jiyu's door and rings the doorbell. While Park Hyun confesses to Jiyu, saying he does not want to lose her to anyone and that he will win back her trust, someone approaches the apartment door. When they hear the doorbell, the two of them immediately snap out of the mood they were in. Could it be Jiho and we are about to have another uncomfortable scene between the three of them? Or is it just some random character? Jiyu tries to guess who it could be since she was not expecting any visitors today. First, she thinks it might be her mother. Then she imagines it could be Jiho. Only then does she realize the situation she is in and how strange it would look to anyone who saw her right now. For a moment, she considers pretending she is not home, hoping the person will leave soon. But the doorbell rings again, then once more, and again, until a formal voice calls from outside asking, "Student Jiyu, are you home?" She recognizes the voice immediately and tells Park Hyun to hide while she goes to open the door. When she answers, Jiyu apologizes for the delay, explaining that she was busy. And in the end, the one standing there is the landlady of the building, famous for being the biggest gossip in the place. She smiles and says she thought Jiyu was not home. The landlady explains that she needs to check for possible leaks since some apartments have had issues and asks if everything is fine in hers. Relieved, Jiyu confirms that everything is normal. The landlady seems satisfied and about to leave, but suddenly stops, looks Jiyu up and down, and questions why her face is so red. She also asks what she was doing to look like that. Look at the born gossip in action. She never misses a chance to uncover some new drama. Jiyu is shocked by the woman's boldness and, trying to come up with something quickly, blurts out that she was struggling to wash the dishes. The excuse is terrible. The landlady looks inside and notices two pairs of sneakers at the entrance, one of them much larger than the other. She widens her eyes, laughs quietly, and asks if Jiyu's boyfriend is inside. Without waiting for an answer, she goes down the stairs and says she will not disturb the two of them. Jiyu tries to explain that it is not like that, but it is useless. The landlady is already gone. She closes the door and wonders how she is going to explain all this confusion caused by Park Hyun's presence. He comes out of hiding and asks if the woman has left, and if they can finish their earlier conversation. Jiyu is indignant. She even thinks about telling him to shut up because she knows very well that all of this is his fault. She asks what exactly he wants to finish, since because of him, the landlady ended up drawing completely wrong conclusions. Park Hyun pretends to be innocent and asks what they did for someone to think something wrong. He moves closer to Jiyu and says he has never done anything with her, or at least, not yet. And the Don Juan inside him comes out even stronger. Jiyu takes a deep breath, stares at him with a hard expression, and says that Park Hyun is shallow and superficial, and that he has not changed at all since the past. She kicks him out of the apartment, slamming the door in his face. Not fully understanding what happened, he leaves thinking he chose the worst possible moment to bring up the subject and wondering if she got angry. My dear, you just turned a calm and peaceful girl completely irritated. Do you really think she is not angry? Inside the apartment, Jiyu slides down the door until she is sitting on the floor, thinking about everything Park Hyun said in the last few days, especially his involvement with Young-sua, and the reason he brought that up right now. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Young-sua arrives at a bar to meet her friends. As soon as she approaches the table, one of her friends comments that she is always beautiful and asks what her secret is. Young-sua jokes that she has always been beautiful, and her friend replies that she is so beautiful, it is irritating. As she sits down, the first question she hears is, "Where is Jiho?" She replies that he should arrive later. Then she asks why they always ask about him to her. One of her friends explains that the two of them spend so much time together that it is impossible to imagine them apart. Young-sua tries to cut the subject short, but they insist, asking if she was not with him on his birthday and how that has not already turned into dating. But Jiho is really low profile, right? He does not even have a photo with his girlfriend on his profile. Young-sua looks at his recent post and tries to remember when he posted that. She explains that the photo is from the day he celebrated his birthday with his girlfriend. The friends are shocked. One asks if he got a girlfriend and left Young-sua aside. The other tells her to stop saying that, because if Jiho breaks up, they will say it was their jealousy. Then, to end the subject, they ask what Young-sua would do if Jiho found someone he truly loved and ended up putting her in second place. Caught off guard, Young-sua realizes she had never imagined that scenario and has no idea how she would react. Later, she goes home with Jiho. He asks what she and her friends were talking about and comments that he noticed they kept staring at him. Young-soo replies that they were all asking when the two of them were going to date, but she explained that he already had a girlfriend, and that is why they reacted that way. Suddenly, she stops walking and asks if he can imagine the two of them dating. Jiho says he does not know and throws the question back at her. She replies that she cannot imagine it either. She says that even if they dated, there would not be much difference in the way they already treat each other now. Could it be that Young-soo never wanted to date Jiho, and all of this was just in Ji-Yu's head? Jiho holds her hand. He says that if they dated, there would be a difference. They could walk holding hands, just like they are doing now. He squeezes her hand and asks if she does not want to know what else would change. It seems the one to blame for Ji-Yu going crazy with jealousy is her own boyfriend. What a shameless guy. Young-soo is startled, immediately lets go of his hand and says she cannot imagine that. For her, walking hand in hand is too cringe, especially if it were with him. Jiho asks if she is not exaggerating and says it is better for them to go home because it is late. As they walk in silence, Young-soo thinks she should not have asked that. She remembers that at some point she did imagine dating Jiho. She remembers how he always takes care of her, how she always feels comfortable by his side, and even the funeral where he was present during her worst moments. But she also feels fear of losing him. And because of that, keeping just friendship feels safer. After a few steps, Young-soo breaks the silence and asks if he is upset because she called him cringe. To lighten the mood, she suggests they could drink more. Jiho is surprised by her willingness, but before he can answer, he receives a notification on his phone. His expression changes, and he says he needs to be somewhere else. Meanwhile, in Ji-Yu's building, Parkun is in the elevator, leaving. He thinks he will probably be ignored by her after what happened. The door opens, and before he can step out, he comes face to face with Jiho. Jiho comments that they have been seeing each other quite often lately. Parkun states that he was there because a friend lives in the building and that he was already leaving and that Jiho does not need to worry about seeing him anymore. Jiho crosses his arms and says it is curious how he always shows up exactly at his girlfriend's building. Parkun tries to leave, but Jiho asks if they have not had this conversation before. He stares at Parkun and says he hates when someone tries to mess with someone who is his. And that is how two guys so alike ended up becoming romantic rivals. Jiho tells Parkun that he hates when people mess with what belongs to him. He continues saying that Ji-Yu is his girlfriend and that he hopes Parkun will not try to do anything with her. Parkun stares at Jiho, trying to decide what the best response would be. He thinks for a moment and realizes that if he talks back to Ji-Yu's boyfriend, he will only make things harder for her. So he says that Jiho is misunderstanding. He explains that he only went there to leave some medicine for Ji-Yu, who is sick, and that he just left the bag at the door before leaving. He even asks what the problem is with that, stating that friends do that kind of thing to help. Jiho replies that this kind of attitude makes it seem like Parkun is trying to steal his place as her boyfriend. He also says that he did not misunderstand anything, that Parkun's actions are suspicious. Yes. With a serious look, Jiho states that he cannot trust him at all, because Ji-Yu has been changing a lot since the two of them became close. Does Jiho know that Parkun used to be his girlfriend's crush in the past? Parkun hears all that and thinks that, out of nowhere, he has become the one to blame for the couple's fights. In part, it is your fault, right? Let's not pretend you are innocent here. He knows his conscience is not completely clean, but he also knows that Jiho has no idea about his own flaws as a boyfriend. To avoid prolonging the argument, Parkun says he will be more careful not to worry Jiho, but he cannot leave without lightly provoking him. He says that Ji-Yu has not changed at all and that she is still the same person as before. And he adds that Jiho does not know his own girlfriend as well as he thinks. Jiho goes up to Ji-Yu's floor thinking about everything Parkun said, especially the part about him not knowing his girlfriend that deeply. When he arrives at her door, he sees a bag hanging on the doorknob. Ji-Yu is sleeping when she receives a message from Jiho. He says he stopped by her apartment but did not want to disturb her because she was sleeping. He also says he left some medicine and asked her to call when she wakes up. What Jiho does not mention is that he switched the bags, threw away Parkun's, and left his own in its place. As he leaves the building, he thinks that no one knows Ji-Yu better than he does, and even if she has changed a little lately, in the end, she still likes him. The next morning, Ji-Yu opens the door and sees the bag her boyfriend left. I really want to know what she would do if she found out about the little stunt her boyfriend pulled with the bags. Seeing his care, she can only think about how he went to her house and left all that there, and how she did not even get to see him. She regrets disappearing the whole day, even though it was not intentional. She unlocks her phone thinking about texting Jiho, but her finger goes straight to the Meddler. A little later, Jiho asks by message if they can go to the university together. Ji-Yu agrees, and while waiting for him, talks to the Meddler. She says that her boyfriend left medicine for her yesterday and that she thinks the plan is working. The meddler replies that she is making progress and that, with a little more effort, she will reach her goal. He suggests that she should take the initiative in the relationship this time. Jiho is unsure what that means. She says that for now, she wants to do this on her own, without help from any friend. She thinks about how Parkun has not been the best option to help, especially because she has no idea what he might end up doing next. The meddler listens to everything and says that she is going in circles trying to act alone. She does not like that answer and even thinks about deleting the meddler. But he continues, saying she can see this as an opportunity to learn to be more independent. And he explains the first point of the plan, dealing with the fact that she feels uncomfortable around her boyfriend. The meddler says she should do things her way, try new places, and have experiences she never had with Jiho. While Jiho processes all of this, Jiho arrives and asks how she is feeling. He says she should have told him she was sick and that he was worried because he could not talk to her yesterday. Jiho apologizes and says she ended up falling asleep, but that today she is much better. He replies that is a relief and explains that he wanted to go with her to the university, imagining she might still feel unwell. Jiho listens to everything and remembers what the meddler told her to do. She asks if he came because he wanted to see her. Trying to act naturally, she suggests they do something before class. In her mind, step 1 appears. Try to express yourself and say things you normally would not say. The strategy works. Jiho is surprised and likes the idea. He suggests going to their usual cafe, but Jiho says she has another place in mind and that she wants to go there today. The two of them go to an arcade full of claw machines. Jiho asks if she wants to try one of the machines. She says yes, because the last time she suggested it, he did not care, and now they should try it together. Jiho replies that if she wants a plushie, he can just buy one. He says he does not want to waste time with the machines in that place. Jiho watches him with all that reluctance and wonders if he is reacting like that because she was the one who insisted on going. But she does not give up. She decides they need to do different things and not just go to the cafe every day. She says she really wants to do that with him and that she really likes that kind of place. She pulls his hand and says that if they do it together, it might be surprisingly fun. But when she tries to pull his arm, Jiho does not move even a centimeter. Startled, she asks if he is really hating all of that. But Jiho smiles and says he was joking and that they should try playing. The claw goes down and grabs a plushie by the head. When it rises, Jiho and Jiho watch. For the 1000th time, the claw lift the toy and drop it midair. The two of them are speechless. She asks if he does not like these games because he is really bad at them. With no other excuse, Jiho just agrees and says it is really hard for him. I thought he was being a jerk, but actually he was embarrassed. Who would have guessed? Jiho decides to try herself. While playing, she thinks she imagined he would never agree to this because he does not like this kind of thing. But surprisingly, she is finding it all very fun in her own way. Jiho, on the other hand, watches Jiho play and can only think about how beautiful she looks at that moment. Later, they finally manage to win something from the machines. A little duck keychain. Wow, even I want that keychain for myself. So cute. Jiho holds the keychain and Jiho tells him to keep it, since it is the only prize they managed to get. Jiho thanks her, but tells her to keep the little duck and put it on her bag. Jiho comments that she already expected he would not use the keychain on his own bag. Jiho looks at her with a loving gaze and asks if she wants to skip class today. Jiho is surprised. He holds her hand and says he does not want to see her leave without him. While they wait for the elevator, he comments that he really wants to spend more time with her. Inside the elevator, Jiho asks why she does not want to skip class, since she is used to doing that. Jiho explains that she has already missed too many and cannot miss any more, and says she will talk to him later. She rushes off to class. But before turning the corner, she looks back, trying to understand what Jiho really meant when he said he wanted to spend more time with her. Jiho wonders if she did the right thing and decides to ask the meddler after she leaves there. The little duck falls from her bag without her noticing. I cannot believe the little duck is going to get lost because of her slip-up. Jiho sees the keychain on the floor and thinks about how she simply left, even after he insisted so much for her to stay. He picks up the little duck and takes a deep breath. He really wanted to be with her. And he wonders if maybe she left precisely because he insisted too much. The meddler is surprised by Jiho's behavior in the last meeting with Jiho. He says that if that is really true, she is doing very well. He praises her and comments that finally she is not acting like a pushover again. Jiho asks if the meddler is subtly making fun of her. The meddler defends himself and says he is being sincere. There is nothing playful about it. He returns to the main subject and states that if she has reached this point in the plan, then she is almost at the final moment. He explains that since she spent an entire day without talking to him, and today decided what they would do, that must have made Jiho unable to stop thinking about her. According to the meddler, that is why Jiho said he wanted to spend more time with her when they were in the elevator. He says this is the perfect moment to make Jiho become even more involved, to the point where he cannot stop relying on her. When that happens, she will have the ideal scenario to execute the final step of the plan. Jiho reads everything and wonders if the final step means breaking up. She cannot continue the conversation. She only thinks that her plan is finally reaching its end. Standing in the middle of the sidewalk and distracted, she does not notice Parkun approaching from behind. He greets her. She gets startled and asks how he knew she was there. Parkun says he did not know. He comments that she simply always catches his attention. While adjusting her shirt on her shoulder, he asks what she is doing outside if she was so sick until yesterday. Jiho replies that she is fully recovered. Then she fixes the shirt back in place and says she wants it to stay that way. Parkun rolls his eyes. He asks if she is going to pick on him just because of the shirt. He adds that she did not even get sick enough and jokes that maybe she needs to get sick again to return to normal. Surprised by what he says, Jiho thinks he is embarrassed. She soon realizes she is acting with Parkun the same way she acted with Jiho on his birthday. Jiho ends up shouting that she is just showing her tactics. Parkun does not understand what she means by tactics. Embarrassed, she changes the subject and thinks about how foolish it was to imagine her tactics would work on Parkun. She is already imagining Parkun as a romantic interest again to act like that with him. It was almost muscle memory. Still awkward, Parkun does not know what to say. He changes the subject and asks if she saw Jiho yesterday. She replies that she did not. She explains that he just left some medicine and went away. Then she asks why Parkun wants to know that. Looking around, he says he saw Jiho leaving her building. He steps closer and whispers that he ran into him that day. Startled, Jiho wants to know exactly what that means. Indignant, she punches him in the stomach and asks why he did not tell her before. But the diva is a bit aggressive, right? I would even say she is overreacting. Parkun holds his stomach and says she hits way too hard. He comments that he thought he was going to die. Jiho, still not knowing how to react, only thinks about why he hid that and kept it to himself. Calmer now, she notices he is acting strangely. She assumes it is because of the encounter with Jiho. Parkun comments that at least he is relieved. Jiho does not understand. He explains that after taking the punch, he felt completely awake. He says that is good because he still has something to finish today. He reminds her that today is the last day to submit the report about the movie they watched last time. Near the library, Youngsua talks to Jiho on the phone. She says she just arrived and thought she heard Jiho from afar. She asks that if he finds his girlfriend later, he should say hi for her. I do not get it. Why does she not greet her best friend's girlfriend herself? On the other side of the line, Jiho asks if she is alone. Youngsua looks around for Jiho while replying that his girlfriend is probably alone. She looks toward Jiho's table and notices she is with Parkun. She can only think that, once again, she is seeing the two of them together. While Youngsua watches from afar, Jiho and Parkun sit in silence. She works on the report. He does nothing and can only think about her. Parkun stares at the girl and thinks that he joined her with the excuse of the assignment, but he does not know how to proceed. At least she does not seem to be avoiding him. He keeps looking at Jiho and wonders if she would find it strange if he tried to get closer. He looks at his phone and considers asking the Meddler for help. Who would have thought he would consider asking the AI for help? It looks like the tables have turned, right? He gives up when he thinks about how useful the Meddler would actually be at that moment. Jiho notices his restlessness and touches Parkun's foot under the table. She says he is not doing well on the assignment and asks if he wants help. Parkun looks at the girl. Of course he would not miss the opportunity. He stands up, says that if she wants to help, he will not complain. Then he sits beside her and comments that this way it is easier. Sitting next to Jiho, he remembers that it has been a long time since they did something like that. Trying to ignore the provocation, Jiho asks which part of the report he got stuck on. Inside, she is surprised by the way he is acting. Parkun starts explaining the part where he stopped and at the same time keeps brushing against her. Jiho notices how he is way too close. Parkun realizes she is not focusing on the assignment but on his actions. He smiles. Look at his little plan working to get her attention. Jiho looks away and tries to understand why he is smiling like that. In the late afternoon, the two of them are still in the library. Exhausted, Jiho says she needs to stop for a while because she cannot do anything else. With dark circles under her eyes and very tired, she asks Parkun to wake her up in 15 minutes. She rests her head on the table. He tells her to take a nap. Lying there, Jiho looks at Parkun and thinks that he confessed yesterday, but even so, he is acting normally today. As she closes her eyes, she does not really know why, but it makes her remember when the two of them were freshmen. A few years earlier, in the same library, Jiho was lying on the table, just like now. She wakes up with Parkun calling her name. She opens her eyes and sees that he is also lying down, staring at her and telling her to wake up. Parkun comments that everyone has already left and that only the two of them are still there. Jiho sits up and asks why she slept so long. He replies that she seemed very tired and that she even snored. Embarrassed, she asks, almost shouting if that is true. Realizing they are in the library, she covers her mouth, thinking someone will complain. Park-hyun reminds her that it is just the two of them there, so she can relax. Even so, Ji-yu says it is embarrassing. She comments that she does not understand why she was so tired. While she talks, Park-hyun looks around to check if there is no one nearby. He places his hand on her face and asks if she wants him to help her wake up for real. Ji-yu says nothing. He interprets the silence as a yes. He moves closer, staying just a few centimeters from her face, and asks if she does not want to close her eyes. Startled, Ji-yu wakes up. She tries to understand why she dreamed about that day. She lifts her gaze and sees Park-hyun asking if she finally decided to wake up. Park-hyun looks at Ji-yu and asks if she needs help to really wake up. Are we finally going to see a kiss between these two? Ji-yu says nothing. He interprets the silence as a yes. He moves closer, staying just a few centimeters from her face, and asks if she does not want to close her eyes. Ji-yu obeys, waiting to find out what Park-hyun is going to do, but her expectations are destroyed when he simply puts a lollipop in her mouth. I think I believed too much that they were going to kiss at that moment. With his face still close to hers, Park-hyun asks if she feels more awake now. Ji-yu is speechless at his boldness. Meanwhile, Park-hyun keeps teasing her and asks if she was thinking about naughty things. Ji-yu turns redder than an apple. He keeps joking and asks what exactly she thought he was going to do. Even though she gets a little annoyed by his teasing, deep down, I like him joking with her. Ji-yu wakes up startled and tries to understand why she dreamed exactly about that. She thinks about how she just had to remember her memory of Park-hyun flirting, but she needs to stop thinking, because the reason she is blushing is looking at her and asking if she finally woke up. Ji-yu stands up, stuttering, and asks why he is looking at her like that. Park-hyun starts saying that he is looking like that because, while fixing her hair, which was stuck to her face, he comments that she was calling his name while sleeping. Ji-yu jumps out of the chair, whispering loudly, wanting to know if that really happened. Startled, she thinks about how she finally lost herself calling his name in her sleep. Stuttering, she makes up that she remembered something urgent and that she needs to leave right now. Before Park-hyun can say anything, especially because the assignment was not finished yet, she quickly says goodbye. Ji-yu states that there is no way to finish the assignment now and insists that she needs to go. But before she can explain, her stomach growls loudly enough to embarrass both of them. With a smile on his face, he asks if the urgent matter was her stomach. Unable to hold back, he starts laughing out loud. Ji-yu threatens to hit him, while he says he was just joking and suggests they go eat something. Outside the library, the two of them are at a pizzeria. While eating, Ji-yu thinks about how delicious the pizza is. Park-hyun says that if she was hungry, she just had to say so, since she always gets irritated when she is starving. With a serious expression, Ji-yu asks if that is true and insists that it has nothing to do with what he said. Noticing she is not in the mood for jokes, Park-hyun comments that it is good to see her eating so well. There is really no way to stay calm when you are hungry. I understand you, my dear. He then asks if she brought the medicine because if she improved so quickly, it was important to keep taking it for a while longer. Ji-yu replies that she brought the medicine Jiho left at her door. She takes the opportunity to ask how Park-hyun ran into Jiho in the building, since she imagined her boyfriend had gone there much later after he left. Park-hyun simply comments that he thought she did not have much medicine at home and left the bag at her door. When he was leaving, he crossed paths with Jiho. Suspicious, Ji-yu wonders why Park-hyun did not say anything and why his bag simply disappeared. She asks if Jiho did not say anything, since she did not see his medicine anywhere. I would really love to see her reaction if she found out that her boyfriend threw Park-hyun's bag away out of jealousy. Park-hyun watches Ji-yu and wonders if she herself threw the bag away. He concludes that it would be rude to do that, but also internally admits that he can be annoying sometimes. He says it does not matter that someone must have taken the bag without her noticing. Then he asks if it is okay for them to leave. At the cashier, Ji-yu says she will pay for the snack because he took care of her yesterday. He is surprised, saying she is being very nice. Still thinking about the missing medicine, Ji-yu considers that maybe Jiho did it out of jealousy. But she quickly dismisses the idea, because Jiho would not do that kind of thing. Or at least that is what she believes. It is incredible how she guessed the right answer and still said it would not make sense. The cashier apologizes and says Ji-yu's card did not go through, asking for another payment method. Ji-yu is surprised when she realizes her account is empty. She starts looking for another card, embarrassed. As they leave the restaurant, Ji-yu says she will pay Park-hyun back later. He replies that she paid the other times and that she does not need to worry. Thinking about it, she remembers all the recent expenses. The outings with Park-hyun, the gift and everything she spent on Jiho's birthday, plus her regular expenses. She realizes it has been a while since she checked her balance and considers getting a job. Lives without money matter too. I understand you, Ji-yu. Park-hyun, as always, does not miss the chance to tease. He says he almost fell in love with her when she tried to pay the bill. She is indignant, and he adds that almost falling in love does not count. Jiho stares at Parkun and thinks about how this guy always irritates her at every opportunity. She remembers that even in her dreams, he is always teasing her and starts thinking about how she can get revenge. Not noticing her indignation, Parkun comments that now that he has eaten, he feels a little sleepy and that it would be good to walk a bit. Jiho hears the word sleepy and seems to get an idea. I can already see what her revenge is going to be. It is going to be so good, I can feel it. She calls Parkun. When he turns around, he sees Jiho standing on top of a low wall, saying that now she is taller than him. He asks when she climbed up there. Jiho ignores the question and asks if he wants help waking up. She tells him to come closer. But before he gets closer, a cat runs out of the bushes behind her, startling both of them. Jiho loses her balance and starts to fall. Parkun grabs her by the waist at the last second. The cat looks at the two of them, meows and walks away as if it had caused nothing. But did that cat not have a better time to appear? It ruined the whole mood of her plan. Startled, Jiho has her hands on his shoulders. He asks if she is okay and wants to know why she is so clumsy. After helping her steady herself on the ground, he asks what exactly she was trying to do. Jiho thinks for a moment and tells him to close his eyes. Parkun closes them and asks why he needs to stay like that. She tells him to open his mouth a little. Surprised, he opens his eyes and asks what she wants to do. At that moment, Jiho puts a candy in his mouth all at once. With a proud smile, she says she finally managed to catch him off guard and that her revenge was a success. As she steps down from the low wall, laughing, she explains that she just wanted to help him wake up. I thought it was cute that she got revenge in exactly that way. This story is really full of revenge, right? From the small ones to the bigger ones. Not knowing what to answer, Parkun thinks that it seems like she remembered that time when they were freshmen. He concludes that he fell for her prank the same way she fell for his back then. With his face redder than an apple, he runs his hand through his hair and says that she is so cute he could die from so much cuteness. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the story. This love triangle has already turned into an emotional square with an AI in the middle. Do you think Jiho really loves Jiho? Or did he only start valuing her when he felt threatened? And Parkun, is he a red flag or the only sincere one in this story? And I really want to see who is going to walk away from this with their heart still intact. What are you all thinking? Tell me more in the comments. And if you want more, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss any new video I post. The name of this work is My Meddler in Love, and our recap went up to chapter 17. Kisses and see you next time.